Hunas, they're locked in, they're ready at the big desk, they're ready to look at the tickers that you have chosen on the day. But before we start that, let's have a look at the future. It's still up 1/3%, sold off definitely from the highs that we printed this morning. Trying to dance with that 476 right now on the TQQQs. The SPY, not really much difference between the two indexes today. Apple, the #1 selected name by you guys today, and how could it not be after the 2 days of an epic move up? Not much of a move up today. In fact, a little bit negative on the day. Trying with that 213, guys. What was your look on Apple?
Yo. A tale of two series. We're just talking, so right now GameStop, so we're just hearing it in our ear. I know we're going to talk about this GameStop, but tomorrow 4 p.m. they rescheduled it for. Oh man.
Which it threw me off for a second.
I was hoping it was going to be, oh, you're muted again? Come on, Neil.
It's not even on.
Come on, man. All right. Let's just check out GME just real quick right now. I just want to check it out. We will go over Apple, but there it goes. We're starting to move higher. So, yeah, they like it. There it goes. Let's go, GameStop holders. And I just heard Adara mention her GameStop trade, but there it goes. Nicely done to the upside, 28.50 now for GameStop. That most recent high, 28.75. So, again, I just was listening to the news, telling you what I heard, and it was rescheduled for tomorrow. That is the shareholder meeting, rescheduled for tomorrow at 4 p.m. So, and I said, when I heard Adara mentioning that, I said to Neil, I was like, how come everything's happening with GameStop? Like, you know, this cat guy delays for a half hour, then this thing now with that, and then they drop the earnings early, then they throw on everybody's face the 75 million, and then it's like shares, and then it's this way. All right, so that's GameStop. Just quickly here, Apple, and there was nothing else on GameStop, right? Or
well, there was some there was more actual selling of those calls.
okay.
His strike. So
do we know that? That's there's a big
no, I saw that it was just more volume, but half as much as last night. Whether or not that's him making profit, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it is, but he might be, and if he is. You know, he's trading and he's made money on them, obviously, at this point because they're still deep in the money. Well, I mean, well in the money. Yeah, deep in the money was when it was like at $50 and $60. It's hard to say.
Oh yeah, you can't get out in the pre-market. I just wonder if he, like, when did he get them? What the strike prices were and all that kind of stuff. Like, not the strike price, how much he paid for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I just saw
premium.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I just saw it was extra volume, like there was yesterday. So if he's getting out, he's getting out. Apple, which. You know, it's not really moving right now, so obviously GameStop is making some power moves, and we'll talk about that as it goes on. But Apple, like I said, it's like a tale of two series, which is, what I was going to say after that was, that's what needs to happen for the Dallas Mavericks. You know, they need to somehow change.
That's never happened? Can you believe that?
Yeah, coming down from
3-0, ever.
NBA doesn't happen. In other sports, it happens.
It happens
in NBA, you're done.
It happened a handful of times.
So they need an absolute miracle. But Apple was strong at the open. I know it's hard to believe that now because it's trend down, but it held on to what was the line in the sand in the pre-market, and that was at 213, 212, whatever you want to call it. I didn't have it till a VWAP test to the long. I had 2 shorts. One was like, oh, didn't want that one, and got out, and then took a short off of 213, which I'm almost starting to like again, if not for a VWAP retrace. So it's like, to me, it's a stair-step down trade. And I'm looking to be, I think I want to be short this name. It's red into an up NASDAQ, into an up, generally speaking, a slightly up market. The ES is actually flat, but barely up. Relative weakness happening here in Apple. I'd be a shorter in front of VWAP here. But such a difference from 930 on Apple when it was screaming.
Get down, AMD. I just want to say that Freedom and Wealth podcast right there, make sure you do scan that. And it's actually really interesting. I was just outside hanging out with Dimitri and Randy. I went for the walk. I came back. They're just chilling out there. And then it was like, Randy was like, you want to go get a coffee? I was like, okay, let's go. And then we went to Tim Hortons. And then, honestly, the guy that's working there knows he's been a fan of the show. I've talked about him a couple times here on the show before. And he goes, and Brendan's hopefully listening to this. I know Brendan's hard at work. But he said, Sean, that new podcast, I'm not making this up. Like, honestly, that's why it's going to sound unbelievable. Randy turns to me and is like, what the hell is going on here? He said, the new podcast, he's excited to listen to it every single week because he is that guy that's 9 to 5. And I'm just like, holy crap, like, have we hit something here maybe? And he's like, he loves the talk because he's going into work every day, 9 to 5, loves the show, and is looking for those extra little ideas that he could sort of hack in and figure out if there's something there for him as opposed to the show. So he said, you know, he prefers it to the show, but you know, I prefer the show. But yeah, definitely check it out. Different perspective, different opportunities there with the Freedom Wealth podcast. And then, I mean, I was hoping Randy was here so he could verify said story. But it was really humbling. And I was just like, yeah, man, we just filmed episode 3 yesterday, and he's super pumped to watch it. So
and not everybody's a trader, and you know
that's it.
But everybody can get something from it, and that's the key. That's the key.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think it was pretty cool. And then Brendan even turned to us today and said we had like a record sort of viewing day out of, not a record, but sort of out of nowhere was starting to pick up. So we want to thank everybody for that. Okay, you know, one way that you could have amassed some wealth was something like by buying Apple over the last 30 years or however long you've had to buy it. But more recently, you know, that 200 break has been pretty phenomenal and it's been holding up. But today, you know, with the NASDAQ where it is, NASDAQ being up 1.26% right now, Apple's down. So you are getting a little bit of a disconnect now as GameStop continues to go higher, and I don't want to keep on this for too long. We might have to bump up GameStop at some point on that list. But right now, 213 coming through for Apple. I would still say, look, I've been only buying it today. We had a great dip buy down there at 211, 212. That's the level that we wrote down on the sticky note. So we bought 212s a couple times, and this time, look at this 212 buy right here. Man, did that work. That went all the way to 214, so that was $2. Then we did lose it there and then bought it back. So far, so good there on Apple moving back up to the upside. So let's go talk about another name. This will be my worst name on the day. It's Tesla.
It's voting day for Tesla, that is. That comes to us at 4:30. It'll be after the show, so we won't actually get the result while we're live, but it was very interesting today. On the docket, 2 different things. One, will they verify Elon Musk's $52 million-ish pay package, mostly with options? And number 2, whether to move the company's headquarters from Delaware to Texas as a result of that new decision. Good day for Tesla today, almost 4% in the clear, was much higher, danced with that 191-ish, guys. What is their look on Tesla?
Barcoding right now, and relatively speaking, I mean, like this stock is barcoding. This is, I don't know, it's actually pretty close. It's like 1A and 1B for the ones that lost today. I got pretty fortunate. It could have been a heck of a lot worse on Tesla. That's why it was the lesson of the day. Like, have some strategies for, you know, if you are buying things near pretty significant tops that are extended, and when I say extended, look at the last couple of days in Tesla. It was just at $167 2 days ago. We closed at $177, and lo and behold, we were taking longs over 190 at one point today. So you got to have a plan of action. For myself, it was at least some tight stops. I was dip buying, and even when those scalp trades were working, I was getting out with relatively tight stops every single long trade we had. Wish I could tell you reverse short. It was just not I wasn't thinking short Tesla today. And if you're not thinking short, you're not going to be that quick to get a reversal. The way that this pulled back in after that last 91 fail, it was rapid, to say the least. Like they got a hold of that one, and they just didn't let go. Whatever is happening for the last hour, I don't know what to make of a 30 or 40 cent range in Tesla. So I'm not touching this till it does something and gives me an indication. Hey, we get up here and we're still weak around VWAP. We can short over 185, but not doing anything with this whatever like nonsense you call in here on Tesla. Tesla's got to move more than that. The only position I'm in is Barnes and Noble because not that I endorse the stock. It's just it bounced off VWAP. That's all. Still going under.
Yeah, Barnes and Noble. Yeah. Well, if you ever want to start to revive your stock, just declare bankruptcy. It works all the time. I can't wait for Fisker to do that at some point. You know, as a shareholder, I can't wait for a company to declare bankruptcy.
It's ridiculous.
This is great. All right, so I feel like this may be bizarro world again because now NVIDIA's triple topped right here and coming back in right now. So there's a top. It already went down. We had this trade. We did, again, you guys were watching me at 1040. We got stopped out and got back in and then talked about that trade and was so super happy with it. NVIDIA is going to be my #1 stock, but at the end of the day, we shorted it again at 11:30, 11:45, and look at this short, 129, and we talked about that on the midday show as well, back to 127, so we're going to put it on again right now. The idea was Tesla, and I told you it was my worst stock, and it's because we just kept on, it's not even, I don't even feel like we made bad decisions other than not flipping short at some point, but the first idea was 190, 180. So when we came in and we broke higher, and I remember we were talking about it live as this was happening, we wound up taking like 190.50s, right? And then it broke down, and Neil just covered the breakout that didn't work. So we thought 190 would hold, so we tried it, then we got out of the way. Then our note from yesterday was 188, and a part of that was because these pre-market, that's sort of the open, right into here, these pre-market bottoms was 188.36, that little jump off spot, it was maybe just the pre-market bottom. That didn't work, we lost our way there, and then I said, okay, well, hey, the morning was bad because we called that there was going to be a decent move down, or at least off the open. And then we said, let's see if 186 holds. Well, when that doesn't hold and your idea is short or long, then you lose. So we tried it 3 times. And when I try something 3 times, it's going to be almost impossible for that one not to be my worst stock. So Tesla right now, bad one for the day. NVIDIA, good call. Let's talk about that now.
Yeah, Sean, this is one of the 2 Mag 7 names that made another all-time high today. NVIDIA up almost 3%. Microsoft, the other name that made another all-time high. No real news today for NVIDIA, but it's still that post-split pump to get more retail investors in. That split was a 10-for-1 split that we got last week. Yeah, up almost at day's highs right now, guys. What is your look on NVIDIA?
The term I used this morning was, I called it like a seesaw day. I think I could have gone with like yo-yo. I think yo-yo might have been a little bit more apt. But
yo-yo ma.
If it's a yo-yo type day, a lot of times you want to be able to.
Here we go.
Want to be able to go both directions.
Oh, it's almost NFL time.
NFL.
It's almost time to say, here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go. Sack.
Yeah, the Cowboys are not going to be a thing this year like they were last year, Sharif. I'm just going to be honest about that.
You don't think it's Ezekiel time?
No, it really is not going to be Ezekiel time whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I say that.
I think
I say that with all the love in my heart.
You have no love for the Cowboys.
Hey, they have.
You're right. I have no love for the Cowboys at all. I actually can't even stop smiling as I'm saying they're going to have a bad year. Oh yeah,
They might not have a bad year, man.
Well, to disappoint, they'll
Their
be like
defenses.
No, let's go like 8-9 for the Cowboys.
8-9. Ouch, Sharif.
8-9 for the Cowboys.
Ouch. What is Jerry gonna say about that, Sharif?
I actually have a reason for saying it'll be 500 because I'm shooting 500 on NVIDIA. That's my. So I had longs that worked, and I had longs that didn't work, and then I had short that worked, and then shorts that didn't work. And here it's like winning long, dip buy, losing long, losing long. Then I go winning short, losing short. It's like it's pretty amazing. So I was 2 for 3 shorts, 1 for 3 longs today in NVIDIA. I'm now flat. So when I say it's a yo-yo day, it is, or seesaw, or whatever you want to call it, that's exactly what it is. It's back above VWAP. It's up 3%. Good for them. I don't, the Cowboys, that's just me having fun. If you're tuning in for the first time, I am one of the bigger Buffalo Bills fans that you will probably ever see. So I think they're winning the Super Bowl every year, and I will have no ways hating on the Cowboys, Patriots, Colts, Jets, and I kind of have some love for the Miami Dolphins because my family spent some time in Florida, so that's about it.
All right, so just real quick here on NVIDIA, I mean, we had this marked down as we had Apple first, NVIDIA 2 for our favorite trades of the day, and look what we just did right now. I don't know what else to do because right before we had this segment, we were talking about Apple, and I said, just to let everybody know, we're shorting NVIDIA right here. So there's 30 more cents for that short. So let's see if it continues to go down. I'm a little surprised. I think that's similar to what Neil was saying. I was long first, and now I've just been short. I feel like the range today is real tight on this. I mean, $2 considering the NASDAQ. Remember when the NASDAQ was up 0.4, and thanks to Nimit for the note on Twitter, I found that. And I said that it's probably going to go red. We did go red, and then it came right back up. So the thing is the market today, although trending down, pretty choppy and not giving the big move that potentially we thought we would get off of the PPI this morning. So we gave that all back, and then once we broke that low, this is when really right here at 19,600, this is when the NASDAQ, this is the battle zone now, not what we're doing now. Right now we're just in the middle. I don't even care about VWAP, to be honest with you. It's this level, 19.6. So we tried to get through it. It was nice that it was VWAP then, but I'm not using this. I'm using up here for a barometer of a short play. But at the end of the day, NVIDIA here has been a little choppy, and it hasn't been like that home run day. Unless you were really trying to swing for the fences early, which we were, and it was a good trade. Like these longs are 128.50, but the best it got up to was 129.50. You know, and then once it broke, you wind up losing, right? And then the short was good. We got ticked out there. We got back in. Then the short was good there, and then now it's good. But look what's happening. No follow through, right? It goes down to the VWAP and then comes right back. So I don't know. I'm not super excited about these levels. I'd rather actually wait for 130. So my stop out on this trade that I have right now is 129.20. So I'm just going to give this like 30 cents, you know, because we haven't been able to get it. We just got 20 cents. So. All right, so let's go back over to the desk. Kind of flat today for NVIDIA. AMD, a little different story as well.
Yeah, Sean, it's also up marginally, up 0.4%. No real headline again for this microchip name, but we did get that Bloomberg report yesterday that said the Biden administration could be looking to expand the embargoes on some of the AI chips for export to China. So we'll be on the lookout for that. This headline here basically just telling you the size of the AI chip demand that's expected to grow by 2032. No real catalyst for AMD on the day though, guys.
Not really, but I mean, AMD moves without a catalyst all the time.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, actually it was, who was I talking to about this? About the, you know, Fed levels and just looking at trading inside of a range. I think it was Yannick I was mentioning. You know, sometimes you look at a stock and the most simple thing is, hey, well, if something happened the day before, like what happens if it does it again? And if you look at AMD, yesterday's double top high was just like the God mode short or whatever you want to call it. And then if you go into the week's low, which was, you know, there right here on the beginning of the week on Monday, or Tuesday, sorry, it goes right to 157. So you get the last 2 days, a wipeout bottom when it's weak, and the day where it was a little bit stronger, you get that top. And then that's your range on AMD. Now, saying all of that, I diddled in the middle because why not, right? Did I trade it at the top? Nope. Wasn't short at the top. Was I long at the bottom? Nope. I was short off VWAP and lost on AMD twice. So unfortunately for me, this will be nasty. This and Apple both kind of sucked for me today. It is what it is. Actually, Apple wasn't that bad. It was Tesla. Apple was a small hit, but Apple was frustrating in that I think we had a really good chance to just hit it off the open. I was in ARM, and I looked over, and I'm like, even ARM is going up right now. Like, what is happening? ARM is back to green. This was a good short. It's my best stock. We shorted off VWAP. It got to that 151 that we expected. We took $4. I'm like, yeah, we're good. This thing is probably going to, I'll get out early, and ARM's going to break 150 and die. That's what I kind of felt was going to happen. ARM is now all of a sudden all the way back up $5, and I'm not shorting this again because I was completely convinced that ARM was rejecting this high and going to hold back down in here somewhere, and the buyers just keep on coming into this stock in ways that will shock me time and time again. It's just, it's so strong, and I always forget it doesn't have that much of the shares available. So when it glides higher, you know, it tends to run sometimes like it's even squeezing at times.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. ARM's all the way back there. I mean, you just covered AMD. I mean, AMD top to bottom. I mean, 157 right there, all the way now to 161. I mean, this is moving $3. I know. I mean, they're pretty equivalent on prices, but it's a good point about the share size, the float available for ARM. But at the end of the day, here we were just in this right now. So I think when we came back in is when we sort of, well, we were starting it earlier. We were shorting. You see how we were kind of just barcoding here between 159.80. 160.20 back and forth, like these little levels in there. We just kept shorting it against really nothing, really just 160. And then it broke higher, and we had discussed this. So we got out there on the short, and then it broke higher. I'm gonna leave it alone. I just actually picked my poison and pretty good again. Let's go right now. I mean, look what we're doing, guys. Just hit the sires. Watch the Freedom and Wealth podcast, but hopefully look out for some of these trades too, because we just loaded up here at 129. I mean, by loaded up, I mean good amount of shares for myself. We'll wait to see what happens here, though, on NVIDIA. I'm waiting for a 75 print. Hopefully, we'll get a little bit lower. My stop, remember where the stop was? 129.20. So right now, that's what I'm saying. It's not like that we're ringing there it is. It's not like we're ringing too many registers here, but we're 25 cents in the money. So let's take a little bit of profit and then hold for hopefully the push lower. Like I said, for me, and for Adam and everybody that's out there that always tells me about trading the futures, I should just do that. It's like, I'm waiting for this level. So for NVIDIA, I'm gonna get stopped out if it goes now 1-to-1 against me. But right now we're in the money and I'm looking for lower because we're underneath that futures level. So let's actually, checks notes, has no bids. All right, what's up with GME?
What's up with that?
It's a shareholder meeting, Sean, that's for sure. That was scheduled to take place today at 11, got canceled. Benzinga reporting that users were unable to connect. As a result, it was canceled. Down right now, though, it traded this one on the midday show. Bit up, a bit down. Did you guys have a look at this one?
I mean, obviously, I haven't traded it, but clearly we're looking at it all morning. 25, we said in the morning note, or the morning rundown when we do it, 25 looked like the dip buy spot, and that was just based on what happened in the afternoon show. When you guys were all here yesterday, we now know that it was a ton of sells in the June 21st expiry on that $20 strike. And that's the one, of course, Roaring Kitty has, so maybe he was getting out, but that caused that huge move. It bounced off 25. We were looking 25 long. It never got there. Then higher lows, all that kind of good stuff. I'm in BNet and Longevron. I'll get to that in a sec. This spike that happened to the upside was basically because they said, yeah, it didn't happen today. We're doing it tomorrow. And the stock went up $1.50. I mean, that's just how it works. It feels a little crazy to me that you're going up just because of that. But if it wants to hold VWAP, stranger things have happened here. Even this 27.5 where it bounced from, it's in an upward trend. And if GameStop's in an upward trend, hey, maybe it wants to hold this 28 from this morning. So, I'll be looking for dip buy situations here. If I start to see the velocity of the move to the downside that we saw yesterday, I'd have no problems getting out of its way. There was already some extra action selling on that same strike today, and it doesn't seem to be having the same effect on the stock. So I think that's a pretty decent sign.
All right, I was checking out Apple. Apple right now $1.50 in the money off the 212 level. All right, so GME, I mean, Neil just covered it. There's really, I was saying that whole fun, thing about he should do a meme about trying to roll the contracts over, and then maybe that means he's either rolling over dead or he's getting more, and then therefore nobody would know anything again. So I just, we'll listen. We'll see if Adara has some news. We'll find out if you guys know if there's any sort of news coming through. You look at the options volume and you can sort of try to decipher potentially getting out, getting in, whatever the story is. And until then, I feel like you just want to play off levels that we've seen before. Yesterday's close is right here, 25.50. We had talked about GameStop getting down to 25 again, but I wasn't sitting here bidding it, and should have been like 25.50. That's yesterday's close. I always want to give this name at least $1 because then I'll be motivated to take at least $1. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm trying to do on this, and I just feel like this is a good level. So if we're going to talk about levels now, then I would think if you're going to take a shot on this afternoon, then 26 to 26.50 right into here is probably pretty good. You'll get a break. Some traders will panic through VWAP like I would, and then but I'm not doing it today. And then all of a sudden it drifts down into here, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, there's support down here. So maybe there's something there in and around $25, $26. But I mean, it has the pedigree to do this. So this was just yesterday. It was at $33. So I do feel that the break is. This is going high. I'm not convinced. I don't dabble in this other than day trading it, but I think it's going higher. I mean the trend.
You could draw a trend line on it, and it would be like, look at the higher highs. They're probably almost perfectly connected.
What, you mean on the day?
No, it's the 1 minute there.
Oh yeah. For the one, but I even just think about. What was that, Sharif? Oh yeah, okay. I almost think that just on the day chart here, $25 to $26, like it looks like it's going to hold it. And then you want to talk about trading names with catalysts. I mean, whether or not it's going to be a negative catalyst or not, this has lots of them. So
wait till next week.
That's what I mean. So just wait. It could be like one of those things where you might want to just swing it over the weekend in small amounts to see if you get that $50 or $60 bump or something like that on GameStop. But I mean, for me right now, my focus is we're $1.50 in the money right now on Apple, and we're just trying to mess around here with NVIDIA because like it almost broke 129 there. My stop is 129.20, and probably not going to reload it. But down there, my outs, if we have some, which I just did put a bid, by the way, I said no bids, but I do have one down here. So we're going to put a bid down at 60s and then see if we get filled. So we're just going to cover like 20% of our position at the 50-period moving average if we're lucky enough to do that. Neil, it's that time again.
It is that time again. We've got one of our favorite guests coming on through here today. We've got Mr. Raider. Yeah, I'm calling him Mr.
There we go.
Where'd he go?
Was he there? What, did he disappear? Oh, there he
Where
is.
am I? Oh, here I am.
There he
Okay.
is. There
Hey
he
guys,
is.
how are you? How are you guys?
We're good. Yeah, we're doing really good.
Okay.
What's
Hey,
going on?
handsome as ever, both of you.
Why, thank you. Stop
Outta here
sucking
with
up.
that.
How's everything over there? Looks like you got a beautiful day there behind you.
Yes, it was really nice. Actually, today I just got back. I didn't know if I was going to make it in time, but I just got back from boulder climbing with my uncle, so he roped me into that. So it's like,
Oh, wow.
You know those indoor gyms with the freelance climbing, no harness,
Right, like a rock boulders, yeah.
Yep.
So if you guys are into bouldering climbing, the only one I could do today was V2. So I don't know if that's a flex or maybe I should keep quiet, but.
You'd have to talk to my brother.
I would just be quiet,
All the
probably.
cool stuff my brother does, and I'm the one with the bad back. So he probably would know exactly.
No,
what
my
that-
son does rock climbing. Boy, yeah.
Baxter or Barron?
Both of them.
Oh, both,
actually.
okay. All right.
And there's a place here in Mississauga and Toronto called Boulders. So we'll check that out. Remind everybody and myself where you're located, Andrew.
I'm right now in Columbus, Ohio, but I go to the Bay Area a lot. So California, Oakland, around there. Yep.
Okay, man about town, man about
Ten.
town.
I'm about town.
Yeah. So what do you think about that? Now it looks like we are going to get that one rate cut, right? I mean, going to be coming on later. We got that sort of confirmation yesterday from the Fed. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's all systems ahead. I mean, we got that nice split there with NVIDIA. Now we're starting to go a little higher as we speak on that name. What are you thinking about the market right now? You still a little bullish? I mean, there was a couple different sectors that you had talked about with us last time. What are you looking at right now?
Yeah, so when we get up to these upper levels, I am in SPY calls right now. I'm just trying to play for some sort of continuation tomorrow. But when it comes to that Fed thing, obviously, you know, we were looking for a bigger move other than CPI, but we didn't get it. It seemed he left on the table that there could be, right? And he kept dodging this question of, you know, hey, there could be one more rate cut, but ultimately it's up to the data. So it's almost like he's just dragging this on and he doesn't really want to say it. But with how how we've been playing the markets recently, one of the biggest things I've been focusing on is when do we get this value and defensive rotation? Because that's often when you start to see the market slow down heavily and where you get to play a lot of value names like McDonald's, which is beaten down, J&J Healthcare, all these other guys. So if you actually look at this, it's just like the RG chart. Bloomberg has this. A bunch of services have this. But basically looking at this, you can see that what's swinging into improving over here, these are all value and defensive names and they're rotating out of growth. Of course, we always talk about this in the market, that firms don't just take cash out of the markets. That's not what happens. They reallocate, and they reallocate this money into different sectors. So if they sell growth, they're going to somewhere else. It's likely to be defensive in value, and that's where I've been looking for a lot of trades. So industrials, I caught Home Depot on that big gap up. Just looking into McDonald's now and J&J as well for a bounce. Those are some of the names that I'm watching.
I've been, let me throw another one at you. I actually like Caterpillar and John Deere. So I think
Caterpillar.
Cat and D, if you come over to my screen right here, you'll see that we are kind of coming in a little bit now. And again, you know, the dividends aren't super, you know, fantastic on these names. You can get much better ones with names like Pfizer and whatnot now. But I don't think we're due for too much of a global slowdown. So some of these names, along with the ones you mentioned, J&J. For myself, J&J is a little worrisome just because we have some of those lawsuits, right, that always hanging over, but I know they're slowly trying to get these all figured out. J&J, another beat up name down here. I like that. I like that for a little bit of a swing play there. So yeah, good call on that. Banks have pulled back, eh? I mean, last time we were on, you did mention that you didn't like some of the banks, but no, but you're right. I think you had a good call. Up here, $200 to the downside right now for some of these names. You looking at this sector right now? I think you might have mentioned also last time the KRE. Maybe look for some more weakness potentially here. And I don't want to paraphrase you. If I have this the wrong way, you tell me. But what are you thinking right now about some of these sectors?
No, you said it like an absolute champion, Sean. But as far as banks and everything else, I think they are a little extended to the downside. What we're going to be watching with this is, of course, when we look for a market topping, we want to see banks being weaker. We want to see these names that are the structural parts of the markets to drop first. But more particularly, I'm just interested in, you know, right now we have this data collection window. So we have the CPI, we have the Fed, and we have another month of guidance. So what I like to do, and if you actually want to just share my screen real quick, is what I like to do is I look at the leaders and laggers from that day. So this is from yesterday to today. And this can give us a further idea of, okay, what are we starting to see? If we see a big pump tomorrow, what are they rotating into? And right now, I mean, top of the list, you have real estate, you have, you know, utilities, you have XLP, all these defensive value names. And it seems they are favoring these. So moving forward, I think this confirms the thesis with how the rotations obviously are picking up. But banks specifically, I don't really like those anymore. I traded those to the short side. And when I knock someone out, right? If I'm boxing them,
Yeah.
then I typically don't want to have them as my coach moving forward.
Right.
So I'm not going to look along that after shorting. But
Any truth to the rumors that I heard that you may be filling in for Mike Tyson to face Mr. Jake Paul there, or is that not true? Did I hear something incorrect there?
So actually, I was gonna make an appearance on WWE.
Okay, for Fight Logan.
Wearing
Let's go.
the Speedo.
Right.
And yeah, so I was gonna come out on a
Okay.
big, bull, and there was gonna be fire and everything. So yeah, but
All right,
no,
well-
unfortunately, I would absolutely go to sleep and take a night and probably not wake up for another week if I boxed Mike Tyson. But yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
think
like
that's probably-
any of us would do. Let's be
That's
real.
probably
for a
what would
second.
happen to all of us. Yeah.
I'm happy to hear you're at least somewhat into wrestling. Maybe like my daughter's actually starting to get into it like hardcore. I have no idea how it happened. It was just a random friend.
Roman Reigns.
She knows she's more.
Yeah,
She's like
yeah,
John
yeah, yeah.
Cena. She likes. I'm like, how do you like John Cena? He's like actually one of the older guys.
Yeah, I think he's 48 years
Like
old.
he's more like our ilk.
I'm gonna look that up.
That said, like I love what you're talking about for the rotation. I don't like. I'm kind of curious just in terms of like approach, right? Because often I'll look at these charts. Or we look at these charts, and you see something like a Caterpillar, which for me I absolutely love. Like I love the stock, and I'm actually stink bidding it myself on my personal account. But if you really sort of break it down, it is in a bit of a pullback. And I'm generally of the mind that if you wait for the absolute bottoms or the curl to happen, if people are a little bit concerned about the economy, you want to try to get into the good names before everyone's joining. Do you think, like I'm a baseball guy, what inning do you think you're in a pullback in this? Is this that moment where you're getting that gentle rotation, all in? Are you starting to seek out the names? Are you jamming right now, as they all say, and just getting it all in good, and you think we're going to get the turn in some of these defensive names? Because this isn't a downward trend still, and I actually really like it in this dip.
Yeah, so specifically with that, one thing I normally look for when it comes to market bottoms, or hey, is this the right time? Like everything, what inning do I step up and hit the home run on? It's all about timing. And if you kind of share my chart here, this is Cat. One of the two major signs that I look for a market bottom or any stock bottom to time anything is number one, you want to see higher volume on the lows. You want to see, are they liquidate or, are they starting to actually buy this up? Is the pace of selling decreasing, which it has? It's not this straight down red candles anymore. And what you also want to see is a liquidation. And a liquidation is the classic, just V-shaped, boom, right back up. So if you look at the hourly here on this, you'll see that we had this massive flush today. And then now we're climbing back up into the range. This could identify as a liquidation because not only did you take out the top side to fake out the buyers, but you also took out all the buyers who bought here, and now you're trapping the sellers. And so now you're having a nice balanced move to the upside, a healthy one, because you have everyone out of the market, and this is the perfect time to move it because there's no one in it. So in my opinion, this would be towards the bottom for Caterpillar, and you should probably play this into next week.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because that's one of the things I saw on my 15-minute chart. It's not just to today's, it's actually done a few fails underneath
Right.
the 325 level specifically. Today is just the most extreme one for that. So look, we'll get that. Obviously, fantastic idea. I'm glad we actually agree on some of these. But I want to talk about, and we have all these meme stocks that are absolutely going crazy, and some of these things that we've seen happen. Like Apple doesn't move like this. I think we all understand that the stock can go from 0 to 100 really quickly. What are your thoughts on big cap tech? Because yesterday, I'll be real, like that turnaround on Apple might have been one of the more insane pullbacks that I've seen, and then it was categorized by a sell imbalance at the end where it dumped even some more. And do you think, I think it's still ridiculously strong on that breakout, but do you think that could be a sign of some jittery money at the top of big cap tech? It was a pretty sustained fall that we had in there, and it looked meme-ish for a second. Like it was pulling back like it was a pullback in SMCI, not Apple.
Yeah, so it's super unusual. I mean, Apple 6% one day is just insane, especially at all-time highs. That's just wild. But as far as how I look at that, in the macro picture, I'm here thinking, okay, well, towards a market top, you typically see, your mega tech, you see your large caps start to do better than the rest of the market. So if this is a sign of, hey, maybe we decline moving forward, what is that going to open to the short side? What's going to open to the upside? And we talked about value and defensive. Those are going to be the better longs if the market starts to pull back because they're going to get the juice. So maybe looking into those for safer longs. But as far as shorts, Apple, it's just always so tricky since I do trade options. I get punished for holding. I get punished for not timing correctly. I get everything is punishment in options except for when you get it right. So it makes it very difficult for me to justify, hey, let's go short Apple. But something like semiconductors, that would be something that I would look forward to shorting, because those are the extreme beyond every deviation. And if the markets do see, hey, they're like, oh my God, we're scared now. There's uncertainty now with the Fed. They're going to dump semiconductors, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some 8-9% day in some of these semiconductors, or 9% move down, just because of that. So definitely with the large cap tech, all that stuff, I'm just hands off for now. I think the best ways, like we talked about last time, was shorting the laggers of those. So something like Meta, which is still not broken the high, or something like that could be better to the downside.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I was thinking something similar when ARM turned around today, and I was like, yeah, I had a great short.
Yeah.
I looked back, and it's like it already bounced like $5 again. I'm like, oh, it's going to open. It's going to test 150. We'll short it again tomorrow through 150. No, it was right back up like $6. The moves in, and the SMH, of course, up on another 1.5% today. You're probably right in terms of it's the thing that probably pulls back the most, but my goodness, it's not an easy thing to be short that. So
yeah,
got to be careful.
The demons have been breathing down my neck this entire day for that. Yes.
No, they have a tendency to do that for sure. So look, anything we haven't covered, any ideas? Like you've already rolled through a couple in here. Anything that's caught your eye, or maybe you're not looking for just yet, but rolling into next week might get interesting for you. Of course, we have. We get a split eventually in Broadcom. That could be a little bit exciting. But what's on your mind for next week that we haven't already discussed?
So next week, we haven't actually discussed this, is that we obviously do have the quad witching on the 21st. And if you want to share my chart here, with how this typically goes, and this is, the volume's too big. How this typically goes is this bottom kind of horizontal line, if you can see this marks what we call the fake out or the shakeout phase. So around 30 days before that June 21st is when you get a shakeout phase. We got that. That started almost on schedule to the day, 30 days ahead. You get this huge drop, and that's why I retained a bullish stance. I don't know if I was on here or whatever, but when you start to move up. Now, around 14 days, 2 weeks before, which is this week, you start the development of the max pain phase. And the max pain phase is when you get the final pin move of the market maker. They say, we've run it up this much. Now, what is the best way to fully swing that imbalance back towards a balanced position? And so what's going to happen, I believe, within 3 to 4 days of next Friday, so maybe early next week, is you will likely see another pivot. Now, what is a pivot? It could be to the upside. It could be another gap up in continuation. But I truly believe that in most scenarios, the most common structures are something like this, where you get 2 weeks before you get a move in one direction and then a close right in the middle. That is the healthiest way to close a market into quad witching, because they have hundreds of billions in derivatives to balance. And that's how I see it. So don't take the idea of a pullback out of your pocket yet, but I'm not going to be sitting here and going, let's short overnight. I'm just going to trade the intraday moves because I don't want to deal with it. But that's been the safer play for me, especially on the indices. If you short overnight and hold, the next day it's, after hours, you're getting excited, it's up 3%, and then by open, it's down 1%. So it's like, great, so that's what I would say. So if you want to expect a pivot, expect probably next Tuesday or Wednesday when you'll see some sort of drastic change in pace. But it will likely to be reversed, whichever move that is.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Good thoughts there. We got a question from one of our viewers, Ponzi Fonzie, in the chat here. One of our longtime viewers. He's curious, and a lot of people are actually curious where you're getting that rotation data fund from, if you'd be so kind as to tell everybody.
Yeah, sure thing. So this is stockcharts.com. If you guys have Bloomberg Terminal as well, it's on there. I actually just use this. It's cheaper anyways because it's better. It's more interactive. This tool is really cool. You can do a lot with it. You can make ticker lists. I have probably a ticker list of 150 tickers that I just copy and paste in this bar to scan, whether I want to scan, industrials or certain industries such as biotech. Which ones within biotech are the leaders of biotech? Because the nitty gritty stuff is finding that trade. And if you want to find, okay, you have this idea that, okay, we talked about defensives are the good ones to long, right? So, or value. So let's say value like McDonald's or something, okay? Then you would go in and find which of those value sectors or industries have the leaders within those industries. It's like a double, Russian egg, whatever they call that. So you remove one layer and you find another. And then once you find the leaders of the leaders, those are typically your big plays to continue, or the breakout setup, something like that. So really simple tool with that. I have a few free YouTube videos you can watch on how that I interpret these charts. But one of the best tools during rotational markets, which are often April, May, June, which are choppy. There's a lot of reversals. This is where markets are moving money the most, and this tool is the most reliable. So.
All right, hey, what's up, Andrew? Yeah, thanks for
What's up,
covering
Sean?
that. Same old stuff. All right, I just want to show my screen right here. So my strategy, generally, I talk about being a support and resistance kind of trader. So I've seen right here that, we've had a top there in NVIDIA, so purple is short, came back, we shorted again, now we're shorting again. I feel like I'm gonna get blown out of this one right now, but anyways, end of the day, that's how I trade. So I'm gonna ask you, do you ever put on positions, and you've told us some of your trade ideas. I know generally you'll trade options and maybe swing positions, but are you ever looking to just sort of get involved intraday and trade, maybe not similarly to how we are, but more aggressively throughout the day? Do you ever look for different patterns, or how would you maybe let us know of what your most favorite indicator would be for shorter term time frame trades for yourself, just to give some of our viewers who may be more scalping like we are an idea of how you would play this game?
Yeah, so if you guys are trying to find some scalping, some sort of trade, like I said, one of the most common things that you can do, and excuse me while I find this image real quick, is whenever you try to catch a bottom off a off a support like this. Okay, if you want to share my chart. So, let me screenshot this real quick. Hold on. I'm just a tech wizard, aren't I?
Take your time.
Okay. I guess it's not coming up. 1 second.
That's okay. Come back to me, Ramin. That's fine. All right. When you get it, let us know. But
yeah, I got it, Sean. Listen.
Back to you.
We're rolling today, Sean. But as far as the most basic principle when it comes to a support or resistance trade that I like to look for, again, I have to be naturally more patient than equity traders because there's spreads, there's theta decay. I mean, I get punished for holding, like I said, where you guys don't. So what I have to do is really focus on timing. So one of the best things that I do, one of the patterns, is what I like to call market maker cycles. And I'll show you just one ticker after this that has this. This happens on all time frames. And what the idea is like we talked about with that cat, is you get a fake out to the upside. This is known as a spring. And then that's typically the first bounce off of a support zone. So whenever you draw a support zone, you come down, market's in there. That's typically not the best buy all the time. It's often the quickest bounce, but it resolves in some pain almost every single time. So what I like to do is see a violation of that support zone, just slight violation, but still see that strength within that zone or around that zone. And then as it starts to come back up, that's when I start to get involved. So a lot of people, they have to rush their zones. And what I say to that is you can always take just some light size on that first bounce, but don't expect that to last very long unless if you see just a huge change in the expectations. But this is how I typically trade is, hey, there's a violation with that. One of the tickers that has probably one of the most beautiful examples of this on the daily time frame is GILD. This is just a biotech company, something like that. And you can see that this channel right here, you had the spring to the upside, you come down, you have that final climax of selling that liquidation. And now, given that it stays above that liquidation high, this is a bullish trade to at least above here. So that's just kind of how I do it. With day trading, it's the same principle as, hey, let's not rush that first bounce, maybe put little light size on, but cut that off when we get into profit, and then expect that to continue down. That's just how I trade. Is always when I want to see a bottom, I need to see a climax to one side. But that's.
Yep, I got it. Kind of like a dead cat bounce.
you know what I mean.
I got you.
And as the kids would say, but.
Yeah, as the kids would say, interesting.
As the kids would say.
As the kids would say, those damn kids these days, Andrew? I mean,
yeah,
what's up with those guys?
Hey, we never grow up, Sean. That's just how it is.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
But no. All right, look, thank you so much for covering a whole bunch of stuff there. I mean, we'll have you back on. We'll talk about the expiration next week. And thank you for sharing some of that technical analysis there. And you mentioned also that everyone can find you over there on YouTube. Is there anything specifically you'd like to mention about your channel? I guess they can find you on Instagram as well. I know I follow you.
Yeah, so last time I said I was in the streets of Wall Street, rolling around with the Beamer, big caddy, bumping Neil's mixtapes. He hasn't leaked yet, but I have those on track.
That got repossessed, or what happened?
Yeah, right. Exactly. But yeah, we'll have to settle that in court, Neil. But all the royalties
We'll
to that
figure
will
it
work
out.
out. But we'll eventually release them. But as far as
I got
you guys
OJ's
can
legal
find me-
team, bro.
Yeah, literally. You guys can find me Instagram, whatever. Like I said, if you guys go to my YouTube videos, I have these funny intros to every one of my videos. So if you want to see me as a Hollywood actor, you can go laugh and make fun of me in those. But
All right.
yep. That's where you can find me, guys. Or on here. Hey, watch Trader TV. And sometime
right.
Exactly.
every other
right.
Thursday, you can find Mr. Raider Trader at 2:20 p.m. So
We like it. Thank you for the promo,
right.
and thank you so
Appreciate it.
much for adding all of that. You definitely get a lot of love in the chat. So, Andrew Raider from Raider Trader, thank you so much. Raider Trader 101, thank you, my friend. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Take care, see you, bud.
all right, bye guys.
Ciao, ciao. All right. Always fun times.
I love the energy
I mean,
of the
always
old.
fun times.
You young people, yeah, you never feel old, eh? You never grow up. My sciatic nerve tends to disagree with that on a regular basis about
Right,
not growing
yeah.
up. Let's be real for a second there.
Physically, you always grow up. I mean, I don't think there's any way of stopping that. Well, you could slow it down.
Yeah, 100%, man.
Healthier
Eat well,
eating.
be healthy,
Don't
work
be a-
out. Make sure you watch.
be a day
Make sure you watch the
trader.
podcast. That'll
Right.
keep you nice and fresh and young.
Something like that.
as well. What
Drink
did,
matcha, maybe.
what did Ramin say? I missed that.
Botox, hair plugs.
And we're not going to
things
say
like that.
Botox. Clearly, I'm not. I'm not using any hair. Look, I'm not using
I mean,
any hair plugs.
I'm pretty sure everybody knows.
I don't
that.
color
We're
my
not- I'm not.
hair. Botox, man. That's
Maybe I
not
wish I
right.
was a little more self.
No, I'll shave. I'll go bald before I do any of that stuff. I mean, like, I'll just cue ball it, man. Like, that's.
You had cue balled before. Lots.
No,
of
but that was a
times.
COVID thing, right? Like, my barber was closed, and
Right,
then he
Closed.
opened.
I actually
then he-
talked about that on
then
the
he
next
opened
podcast.
back up.
Yeah.
In the
Episode 3
in the basement.
on the Freedom and Wealth, we talk actually about barbers and potentially being closed or not closed during COVID. Thank you to Andrew Raider.
you don't know. I'm not gonna rat him out or anything. You don't know who he is, but I mean, you had to do what you had to do, man. He had to, and he had.
everybody knows who my barber
He
is.
had mad side hustles too. My
By the way, thanks
barber,
to Wayne.
million side hustles. Crypto.
How did Wayne
trading,
drop us
all
these
that
candy?
stuff.
These Hershey's
I was gonna wait till after the interview for. He dropped us these candies. Cookies and cream.
Yeah.
Cookies and cream. Wayne has
Wayne.
some. Wayne on
Wayne.
the bridge.
You see how we're set? So Ramin is really mad that she didn't get one, and now we're just quickly. See how fast we sold Wayne?
No, you missed. She just
You
said
see how
meet
fast-
me outside.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like,
See how
she
fast
wants to fight.
See how fast that was?
Wayne might be one of the nicest, most gentle people
Yeah,
you will
but
ever meet.
we just
and she's
literally
ready to
said
fight.
we just literally just said, okay, forget it. Who cares? Wayne did it. We didn't even think about. It was just like we're not crossing
It
Ramin.
is true.
Not bad. Actually, with a coffee, it's actually pretty good. My kids like the cookies and cream.
I love cookies. I love it.
I kind of like the dark chocolate is. I like dark chocolate maybe, but the cream is pretty good.
As we make everybody hungry.
All right.
There you go.
What's AMD doing? All right, so we are long NVIDIA. So NVIDIA, look, right when I went and asked Andrew about his breakout or what his style was, I remember I was like, this one's probably gonna come out soon. And then basically as soon as I flipped over, it did. And look, the thing is that you have to get out of these trades when that happens, right? Because if, like, you could see the 50 period, I mean, this is why we have all these outs here, and they were pretty good. I mean, they weren't the greatest outs. They were 85, I mean, they're the greatest outs I could get, but they're 85s, 80s, down into here we have some 60s. But again, we're only getting out of like 10, 15% every time. So when it comes back in and we're reloaded, we don't have, this kind of a setup is not something, I even said that I didn't love this trade because we'd come up here too many times. And then again, Andrew also talked about false breaks and things like that on that little chart that he had there. So at the end of the day, we reload the position, right? And not a full position like we would have had over here, or maybe on some of these first shorts. But at the end of the day, you wind up losing when it comes back. So that's ultimately the risk of, and I saw someone talk about it, I think it was Kyle, I don't know if he's still here or not, but it's like, it was saying that you could scalp back and forth with larger shares and still make money. And then that's why I'm going over this, because if you hold it and it just keeps on going to the upside, if you don't get out, then what you're gonna do is negate all of these profit taking. I was gonna say wins, but I don't consider this winning. All of these profit taking, I don't consider any trade winning. I mean, you can win on a trade, that's fine. You can lose on a trade. It's just the trades will end up in a result that's unfavorable to you. It's like I'm still putting the same amount. It's like in a baseball game. It's like when you're playing with kids. It's like, oh, we're just here to have fun. You know, at the end of the day, I'm going to make a lot of trades. So I'm just trying to find the best opportunities. If they turn out to be awesome, then that's great, and we'll try to hold them as much as we can. But that's why you have to be disciplined enough to be able to punch out. And then I actually punched out, and now I'm trying to go long off of this level. So right now we're long NVIDIA, and this is where I know sometimes we'll get a little bit ahead of ourselves because maybe this isn't the greatest long breakout. But again, playing off this 50-period moving average, we definitely have our risk set, and the risk is defined now on this trade. And the other thing why I took it too is just if you're going to look at the TQs, which maybe I should have taken this instead of NVIDIA, I feel like you are trying to break right now. So this is a 1-minute chart on the futures, 19.6. Remember we told you guys that I was going to be playing short off of this level? Well, look what level came in again. That came within 20 cents of that level. So now, though, I'm thinking we're bouncing, keep on bouncing off this 50 period to eventually try one more test here. So once and then twice. The next time, hopefully, we're able to spring the trap and get back up to the upside right
Always
here.
spring the trap.
I mean, again, we talked about not shorting 19.6 and that we were giving it a little bit of more room. It turned out to be pretty accurate. But again, levels change as the day goes on. It's 251. But yeah.
Just quickly, there was a couple of things. GameStop highs of the day.
Is it? Oh my God.
Always. I saw in the chat someone's like, "Did you guys see a story? Did you guys see the story in GME?" I have not seen anything other than, you know, they're going to have the meeting tomorrow. Roaring Kitty tweeted about half an hour ago. That's all I know. Jaspreet was asking in the chat, why are the miners up if Bitcoin's down? I'm in Mara right now, and I don't necessarily see a big difference. This is IBIT, and this is a chart of Mara. I'm not seeing much of a difference in these two charts. But if there's something specifically, if there's a miner that's really bucking the trend, maybe it's got its own news, is all I would say. But yeah, I might be out of this one. I'm short 1994. Well, 94s and 95s are the two prices I've got. 94.3 is technically my average price. But if this breaks 20, I'm getting out of this thing. But GameStop, if there was something that also just happened, I don't know what it is. Roaring Kitty tweeted about here. It was, I think, the second bar here. So they said they're scheduling the meeting tomorrow. It started to go. He tweeted right after that. It was like a video of the movie Dune, or clips from the movie Dune, I think it was. And now you're just going higher and higher and higher because that's what happens on GameStop. So I wanted to buy a dip if it got to VWAP. 28 was the place to go. Look for some kind of a higher low next. So the next available dip, it does one of these, a couple of reds, get a nice little green candle in there, take a higher low, and then play the trend into the afternoon. It's almost power hour, so I suppose a GameStop rip into 30 could be in the cards, as it seems to be almost every day, except for yesterday. Yesterday was the other direction into the close.
It fell back in yesterday.
Well, it looked like it was bound. I mean, whatever.
I think some of those Bitcoin miners had, we had this story earlier, maybe Adara's sitting over there, she could figure it out, but I think it was HUD 8. Wasn't there some takeover talk in some of the miners today?
I know Bitfarm had takeover rumors, but then nothing, I didn't think anything came of that.
Yeah, but that's...
Oh, wait, something had to happen with
People
Bitfarm.
try to front run. And basically right now...
it's up 16%, so yeah, something happened on Bitfarm.
Yeah, so that's probably what it is. So right there, $2 right now in the money on Apple off that posted level of 212. So there it is. I mean, we're buying this. Again, like we did really good to hold on to get these prices, man. These are both dollar clubs right there. We're just holding that. We only have 10% now of this trade, but I mean, it's still nice. Coming back up into VWAP again. This trade for Apple is a good one. It's kind of like a day saver for messing up rate. Not a day saver on Apple. Apple was the number one idea that we had on the sticky note. It's my number one stock. It's my number one P&L today. Everything is fine. But we gave some up rate here when it broke 214. And then we decided to do exactly what we try to do every day, and that is that eventually wait. So we did not, normally I'll get stopped out here and then we'll try to buy it back. It looks like it would have been a good decision to buy it back, but instead we waited for 212. Like that's the level that we'd put up on the sticky note, right? So I feel like it's just the more and more we wait. By the way, we just tweeted something on Affirm that's pretty hilarious. Look at Affirm. Congratulations, investors. It's been a real nice ride. Affirm now losing over $2.8 billion in total losses since going public. So thank you, public money, for that. And then if you go to the downside right now, there's 212. So we had wrote that, and we even talked about it on our note about that. We thought that there was going to be some dip buy opportunities into 212 today. I don't know where my exact sticky note was this morning. Here it is right here. 212 long, very heated, but whatever. Let's play price action. So what I meant by that is that it was heated in the morning because we were starting to go to the downside. So I wasn't sure if it was going to continue. Let's play the price action. The price action today and thanks for checking out the sticky note. The price action today was definitely this way. We tried the long, we hit it, we did well. It broke higher, we were fine. We're playing off VWAP, eventually breaks lower, then we decide, okay, now we have to wait. It's part of how we were able to get away from Tesla, because once Tesla, and we lost way more on Tesla than I was comfortable with. But at the end of the day, it came into our levels and we just traded off of them. You know, the market wasn't going crazy enough for me to be like, oh, this Tesla's in trouble, but it just kept on going to the downside. So Apple did hold bid. So right now, back up to VWAP, this is probably a good trade. Let's just ring the register on $2 and just fight demons here with NVIDIA as we may or may not break higher. We just got some out at 35, but that's not a good trade.
Yeah, good trade there. And I was actually asked if I was still taking a 130 break on NVIDIA. I mean, the answer is, like, I might still take it, but the order that I would have had from this morning, like, I canceled that breakout. Like, I had a stop order to take the break pretty much the entirety of the morning. When it goes down to 127, I'm canceling that order a million times through when I was shorting it. So I might put it back in. It's at 129.30. It's not flying into that level. The market's not doing a heck of a lot. So I'd like to see how it responds to the high of the day, excuse me, before I get into it. But yeah, 130, that was a break that pretty much for the first hour in the day, I was resigned that I was going to take. And, you know, clearly it didn't happen, so we can move on. GameStop just did a bit of a dip. We said we'd look for the first available dip. It wasn't very deep. It pulled back in, tagged like 28.85, and then, you know, there's your little green candle holding 29. So I got long in here at 19s. I actually thought I was hitting 20s, but I got 19s. So if it gets to 30, I'm scalping it into the 30 level, and we'll see where it goes. Just a higher low play on this.
It's going to break 50s.
Rivian.
NVIDIA's only 50 cents away, by the way.
Yeah, you know what? Let me get to. It was just a question. Thoughts on Rivian?
Oh yeah, you can take it.
I think the Rivian move already happened because it's just the $10 move rejected the 12. So you had the move into 12, and now it's rejecting it. So that's the range, and it's been the range for a while on Rivian. I don't think the level I'll have, when I was asked about it, is just back at 10. I think that's the level. 10's your support. If it goes into a downtrend, I'd probably be looking to buy at 10 because that was where I liked it before.
So I'm not getting out of this trade, but I just want to show everybody again, because remember when we had that unlimited seller at 129 earlier? I just got long 129.50, like on the 129.50 break. I got long at 48. So it's breaking on like a dark pool or something. And we talked about this on Tesla, and then I saw it again, I think on NVIDIA before, maybe it was AMD. So it's like there's a lot of liquidity here that are iceberged and holding up levels that are on like lit markets, and then our trigger is hitting on a dark pool flow through. So I'm fine with that. Like honestly, it's not, to me, like if I get stopped out on a trade, it's not going to be like, oh my God, it broke and then it just went down 10 cents and didn't break back. Like I'm trying to play this for a little bit longer. So I'm still in it, but I just want to bring that to your attention. The triggers sometimes, if it's happening to you at real trading, I think it's because there's just a lot of dark pool action. So, all right, let's go back over to Adara.
Quite a lot here with regards to the Bitfarm saga. I've been sorting through this. I'm going to start this back on Monday, June 10th, so a couple days ago. Monday, pre-market, Bitfarms announced that they're going to be putting in this shareholder rights plan or a poison pill, as it's known in the business world. Then that evening, they announced that the TSX, because Bitfarm is a Canadian company, that the Toronto Stock Exchange is deferring the consideration of its shareholder rights plan. Then yesterday morning, Riot comes out, because Riot has been trying to acquire Bitfarms. Bitfarms has not been interested. Riot comes out now and is saying that they are not a fan of Bitfarms' shareholder rights plan, calling it shareholder unfriendly poison pill. And then now this morning we have even more updates here from Bitfarm. Bitfarm having a business update here saying that they project 2025 guidance of over 35 exahash per second. Also saying that they're engaged in some expansion opportunities, and then also again issuing a statement with regards to Riot Platform's response to its shareholder rights plan. So basically, long story short, there's been an ongoing saga with regards to this shareholder rights plan for Bitfarms. Bitfarms trying not to get acquired here by Riot, and the company's going back and forth, and Bitfarms announcing an update, guys.
You know, the thing is, and I was just saying to Sean, like the next time one of these companies has like a rebound off of lows or a trend reversal, and then there's also a buyout rumor to go with said trend reversal on the daily chart, it's like, why don't you just go long the stock? Like Bitfarm's now at $2.80, and I remember when it was first announced and talked about, like, looking at this thing, being able to pick up like 220s, 225 for scalp trades. People were speculating 230 could have been a deal price. Now it's at 280. It was already regaining 50 and 200 period moving average. It was already making. Remember, Andrew Rader was just talking about, something does a wipeout bottom on the daily. Okay, well there's your breaking of the white support, immediately grabbing back up above it. So super strong move for Bitfarm. One of these days. And the crazy thing about it is, like, anyone that knows, been around real trading for a while, I trade buyouts on the side all the time. And I look at them from the time a deal is rumored, you don't want to take them all because if a deal doesn't happen, it can tank. Look at Paramount. But if a stock is literally cratering and catches a bid and is just starting to go and there's deal speculation, your risk to reward sometimes is just fantastic. Because if they get bought out, great, you just get that move. If the rumor is just good enough to spike it, you get that move. You've got a stop level usually at a recent low, and then on top of that, maybe you even get a bidding war, something ridiculous or crazy. And if it's got a short float, I mean, throw that in there as well, because last I checked, Bitfarm had a 9% short float. Anyways, that's just me being mad at myself, because I remember that day, I was like, oh, that would be interesting. Maybe I should buy some shares in this thing. Didn't do it. GameStop did not hold 28.80, so let's buy the first available dip goes 0 for 1. Maybe the 28 level can come back into play here. I am in Mara, which it's just kind of going back and forth from $20 here. So 19, like this high here is like $19.99. It just got up to like $19.97 again. I'm going to bid some 80s and then just see what it can do. Longeveron has fallen asleep. So it bounced off VWAP, and it's bouncing off VWAP, and it's not going anywhere. Maybe it's got a second salvo in it. But it's running out of time to do something. I love the fact that this day two play is holding higher and done 175 million in volume. It'd be a heck of a lot nicer if that volume would continue. There's a good idea of more volume than yesterday at a higher price. That's good, but look at it in the second half of the day. Yesterday, when it was breaking out, the volume in the afternoon was at least reasonably close to what you saw at the open. Yeah, not so much. So I'm not going to be reloading this unless we get some real volume spikes here at Longeveron. No guarantee it happens.
Get down a little bit here. All right, so I just, I'm bidding now in front of 25s. So we got out of NVIDIA for flat there because it was just, so we took a little bit on that break of 50, but then our average price was 35s. Because we took a 30 break right there, and then we were starting to get those out up there, and then all of a sudden we took the 50 break, and that last little break didn't work, and then I was talking about seeing sellers there at 50, and it was so clean down and so hard to go up. So I just flipped over to the short now. So I'm now short 37s against this NVIDIA play. I'm gonna try to use that top. The best out I thought we got was 60. Best out we got was 60s. So I was gonna try to play off of something in and around that as being the high before I do wind up getting out of this. Because, and again, Andrew was just talking about it as well. And, we had written down NVIDIA long. It's just NVIDIA's already been here today a couple times, which is why we decided to go short into here. We had problems breaking here. So if you really want, if you don't want to scalp this out, that's fine. You could get a huge move down, or you're just standing in the way of this crazy trend, which looks more like what it is, because look at that 50 period that we already identified down here. If we had just gone long instead of short at this 50 period on a strong name today, which is what we're supposed to be doing, then you would still be, I still wouldn't be, because I'd be out. I'd probably only have that 10 or 20% left, but you would be long down here at like 128.60, 128.80, something like that. So as you're ripping up here, you're 50, 40, 50 cents in the money. So, yeah, NVIDIA today. Yeah, we wanted it long. It's written on here for the long. It's going to be fine. We're not getting destroyed on this, but we're going to wait now to see about that 60 break higher, and then we'll get out, and I think we'll just wait for the close. It's now into the power hour, so Apple's carrying a little bit right now. It's $2.25 in the money, debating again getting out. We just saw a high wick with volume there as well on the 1 minute chart. So sometimes, it's not necessarily hard to explain what we're doing, I don't think, to most of you. It's just sometimes the decisions are quick, right? So you gotta watch out. All right, here comes NVIDIA right back up. So we just take the last little bit of a short. So let's see if it holds now. See, it just gets a buy all of a sudden and just rips up 30 cents. Like, I don't know. I guess it's just a lot stronger than maybe I thought, but this is where we'd had problems before. So let's see what happens up here at 60 again. Like, we're short at 45s. You know, I think it's worth the shot up. Okay, now it's going to go. I think it's worth the shot up here just because we saw the pattern. But again, to risk here 20 or 30 cents against an idea, I think it's worth it. So let's wait to see what happens with NVIDIA. I
feel like I'm right back to where we were this morning, where I'm going to put the order in. If it breaks at 130. We'll take it. Only because you mentioned Affirm. I pulled up the chart, and I remember it was breaking out big time off a huge downward channel, like the stock for like a year. Okay, for this year, it's actually a half a year this channel's held. It broke it out yesterday. It dipped today. You can't even make it up. The resistance level now turning support on this channel is $34. And where did it bounce today? At 34 bucks. Sometimes when a stock is in an upward or downward channel, you know, leave that trend line in there. Because even if it breaks it out on the pullback, if it holds, I think I want to look long. Now, obviously, we're at the end of the day today. On a daily chart, I care more about whether it holds that bouncing off it today and then green holding it again tomorrow. But if we're holding 34 tomorrow, I think I'd be looking for longs in Affirm until it breaks this trend back into the downside. And it's not to say you can't wick a trend line and then just completely reject it. I feel like AMD did that on the way back to the downside as well. So you just gotta, I'm gonna be paying attention to it pretty closely. We'll see what happens on Affirm. I think that's more of a tomorrow thing. If 130 breaks, I think I will take it. The market is gliding higher here. It's 130, it's fresh highs on NVIDIA. Like, it's the kind of breakout trade that if in power hour, I'm not taking that break, and it's not there yet, it's only at the $0.50 as Sean was mentioning. But if it does get there, I'll take that. I'm gonna cross up to like 21, so I'm gonna get an order in on NVIDIA.
It's just so ironic that now it's holding 50 on the bid. Like, it's just so stupid.
There's icebergs, and like when I'm eyeballing it,
break.
The deep prints I'd say are like 70 to 80%, when usually I think it's about, probably on a stock like this, like 30 to 40% of the volume I think would be in the dark, maybe 30 to 50, but it feels like it's 70 to 75% or even more than that.
There we go. Here we go. Pay dirt. Come on. Let's go to the downside, hopefully now. I don't know. Oh, it stops again. All right, well, it's 10 cents, but we only got out of about 15% there because we got filled on the way down through. Now let's, it didn't go though. Oh, man. All right, I thought maybe NVIDIA had a chance to go there. So this is just game time now. That's all that's happening. Like, 50 was on the offer, it was holding, then it was on the bid and it was holding, and then it broke and it went 8 cents. I'm still of the thought that NVIDIA, I'm not here tomorrow, but unless this breaks through 130, we could just sort of stand still until someone makes a decision on that 130 level. We have too many trades on this name tape. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna be good on it. Apple. Okay, what else you guys want to look at? Let's see what Tesla's doing, because I'm not.
UNH
gonna drive myself crazy looking at that NVIDIA.
Yeah, UNH doesn't normally move $9 in 20 minutes. Here, I don't have. Here.
Maybe Biden.
Maybe it's this. Something about Medicare star rankings revision. Blah blah. I'm just trying to read this story, and I don't know why that applies to. Yeah, I'm not sure. You know what? I'm not gonna. Yeah, this is the headline I'm seeing. That doesn't even mention UNH here, even though when I search UNH, that's what we got. But this isn't normal for UNH, obviously. You know, it's a $500 stock.
Up move. Oh,
yeah, it just went up like $10 in here on decent volume and then carried through. It's already pulling back, but I saw someone in the chat pointing out that it was moving. CVS as well. So I'm going to assume there is a news story that is going to be related to healthcare somehow. But I don't have it as of yet, but you're seeing them move up in concert. I think there's a third name as well they were mentioning. So CVS to the upside. If we get the story, we'll let you guys know. UNH also going to go through. UNH is not much of a tradable stock. It's, in terms of spread, it's not that great. It'd be nice if it split. But CVS is not bad at all. If I knew what was going on, I might consider buying a dip in this, but I don't know what the story is here, guys.
All right, yeah, that's valid. So we'll just wait for it, but it's good to obviously point it out. UNH, a big Dow name and all of that. So, all right. Right here, 184, 183. I was just looking at Tesla here again because of this bottom that we put in at 182, 183. So again, like the market, we'll talk about that when we get back from Adara. What's up?
Basically, from what I'm seeing here, Wall Street Journal reporting that Medicare Star is looking to revise some of their rankings. So basically, they rank how well these different insurance plans performs. The result of this could actually have hundreds of millions of bonus payments for insurers, and this is now expected apparently as soon as today. Also worth noting here, they do include that another medical plan here. CMS is also planning to redo their quality ratings. So basically some rating changes, a bit of a nice sign here initially, at least for some of these insurers, guys.
Okay, there you go. That's not that, I mean, it's definitely good news. I don't know if it's going to be that big of a deal. Like if it comes back into like 60.5, I think that'd be pretty appealing on CVS. UNH, as I mentioned, probably not something that I would trade just given the spread and the way that it's going to end up moving. I do own this. UNH I actually own in my long-term account because it's been really good down and around the $450 level. I was mulling whether I should have taken profit when it was back above 500. I did not do so, but that's more of a buy and hold thing. I don't tend not to trade it too much there. Mara is starting, like it's just gliding around here. It's starting to slide back in, but nothing too crazy. Oh, Apple just lost VWAP there. Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, Apple tried to get through 214. It might be losing VWAP. We saw what happened in the afternoon yesterday in Apple, so I don't want to discount how weak it was going into the close. Now, I'm not saying it comes out with a sell imbalance, but it was a sell imbalance that grew on Apple, and I feel as if we've seen that 7 out of every 10 days in the last couple of weeks, there's been a sell imbalance on Apple, even when it's strong. So if that's going to be the case and it's failing VWAP, I might take a shot here. This local high is 214.20. So I think get in at evens, give it to the quarters kind of deal. And then if you happen to be in the money and the imbalance is hit, throw an order or a trailing stop and balance comes your way and you happen to be short, you can get maybe a win. And if it comes out of buy, you just have a tight stop in there. So I'm trying to get 214 even on Apple.
All right, so we broke through 60 on NVIDIA, so we wind up getting hit on that last piece. We were able to get something out, but look what I was talking about. Until we break 130, we're just going to leave that alone. So I have an offer. I have a program buy to go through. It's like a stop order. Like now it's probably going to go down. Let me see if we can fight with AMD instead. 160 and change, so kind of not good right now actually on this name either. Look at the move down in the futures now.
Now Apple's like, oh,
man, darn it. Apple's trying to pull back too. All right. I mean,
it always does this.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? We could try. I don't want to get too caught. We just went down to the 50-period moving average right there, right now. Apple just dumped off VWAP. We were still in a piece of this. We should have gotten out of that. We're looking at NVIDIA too much. Okay, so that 50 period, we don't like when 50 periods break. This would probably have been my stop anyways, so let's just use this recent bottom in case this is a move down on Apple. My stop was below 212, so this is fine. 213, what is this price right here? 213.45, 213.51, oops, the other way around. 213.39, let's just put it the other way, and we'll just get out of this in case that was something there. On a little bit of a move back, and again, if you just look at the futures, we went right up to that spot again that we had talked about earlier. So we're right here right now. That's the under, there it is right there. We went over a little bit, then just came back in. So let's see, it's gonna test now the 50-period moving average is what it's doing, and VWAP, so you could get a clean bounce. Hopefully we don't see that stop out on Apple. Right now, if we don't, then the break of the high of this 1420 could be a play back in for Apple. So that would be something there. Uber fell back in. Did it go back up though? What was the low of Uber? Because I remember people were like, hey, Uber's having a bad day. Yeah, so Uber's still down that 3% and goes into $70. If you thought some of that hype was overdone about the robo-taxi and what I thought was a little bit of a negative headline there for them with potentially more competition. I mean, I remember Elon flashed the app or whatever, some app that was designed by him or who knows. Or
it was basically just like a screen.
Yeah, like a sample or something like that, and then people got all like ooh about all that. So yeah, we'll have to see what winds up happening with Uber now. But hey, $70 is always a magnet. So even dollar levels, and then I think the bottom of that was 64 anyways. So you could take a 10% shot here in Uber. I don't think that's horrible.
So we might have missed a super chat there, and apologies to Eric Salazar for not getting to this a little bit faster. But Eric, we absolutely can go over Adobe for tonight, although Drew Lewis just said it's a long at 490. Okay, well, it's got some work to do to get to 490, no question about that. But yeah, stick around. We do have Adobe Aftermarket along with Restoration Hardware, which apparently we're supposed to just call RH now.
Yep.
So Darren and I are going to be on the Aftermarket show, joined by Danielle Shea. So stick around for that. Adobe is the big one. There's been some negative press around essentially, who owns some of creators' content and what you're able to do, what they're able to do with it, which has some people up in arms, and it's been under pressure because of that. So however you feel about it, at the end of the day, and I said this in the midday when someone had asked me about this, the trend is very clean to the downside. When I say very clean, the biggest down move happened when it lost the 50 period back in February, middle of February, and then the second biggest one was when it lost it the second time. Actually, they're about the same. Well, this was actually bigger, but when it lost the 50 period, and it's just been riding this. If this stock isn't holding above the 50 period moving average, I almost don't, I'm not even thinking about long in this thing unless it's to the upside. I think it can do it because it's been such a downward press that it shouldn't take much to be able to get it out of this. But yeah, the 50 is going to be the biggest, probably the most important indicator for me on Adobe. It was just said 490 is a breakout. I mean, if you look at lines on charts and resistance on charts, you could say 500. But that 50 period, you probably just have to break 480 and close above 480 after holding. Hold the 50 period after earnings, and I think it's looking a little bit better. It's got the hammer bottom, like that wipeout low just happened, but it's still trying to find a higher low in some kind of a bid that we need to see next on Adobe. They are after the bell, I believe. I'd have to double check the time. Darius made the notes. But it's not right away at 4 o'clock.
Said 05.
Yeah, 4:05. Yeah, so it's just slightly after the bell. The expected move is only 8%. Last time it did.
What?
It did 14% last time.
Okay.
The expected move's only 8. I tend to think, given the volatility it's had in this downward trend, if they surprise, you'd like to think it would go more than that. But all eyes on Adobe tonight for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one as they get hit by AI and stuff. So we'll see what happens there with Adobe. They'll come up with some products. I think that might be a buy right there. So again, we talked about not shorting this thing or not playing this thing until it got to 130. But honestly, with the move down and then we sort of zoomed back out and we saw that level on the futures, I wouldn't be able to go through the weekend. No, this is not true. Knowing that I didn't at least try this one more time. So we'll see. There's the move down in. We're already 30 cents plus here. If it goes down lower, we've been seeing a 50 period rejection over and over and over again. So this is a good level to get some out. I thought I just did. Didn't I have a 33? Oh, I did. I got filled. So, all right. Now let's put something. I'm at 21s now. Let's just do something about 27s. Just trying to keep this one as, like relaxed as possible. I want to be able to get some out. So we're out of right now 40% of this as it just retraces back into the 50 period. But again, let's see if we can break. Let's see if we can break. So there's been a lot of reserved orders on this name. This has done I'm going to get another piece here as I talk myself out of this a little bit. This has done 200 million shares today. So there's some, we just got some 33s there, by the way.
Which is insane.
Which is insane. 200 million shares on a $130 name. I mean, another $130 name roughly. Like, what is their friend doing?
Apple's more expensive stock. It's a $213 stock. It's done 70 million shares.
Well, that's a lot for them.
No, it is, but like
AMD
compared
37.
Compared to NVIDIA.
Hold on a second. Tesla might be done. Yeah, Tesla's about to cross the 100
what just happened
million.
on Tesla?
Well, the market, this is what I'm saying. I think there's some weakness.
I'm short Apple.
I don't know. The market broke, but not
12
really.
cents in the money, and you're telling me Tesla just dropped a... Okay.
I'm not, yeah, no, I mean, I don't, Tesla went down to 182 into day's low again, I think, yeah.
Okay.
I just think, I mean, maybe the market, again, like we called it, we said that it was going to go red, and it went red again there. Now, I don't know if it will hold here or not, but we just bounced off view up. So that little scare to the downside was bought up real fast. This is just a 1 minute chart. So there's the scare. We've already bought back half of, or not half of it, I guess a third of it. Let's see. Okay. Here's a little bit of a push down here on the futures. So let's see. But again, just a 50 period broke, so I'm pretty okay trying to go short. Would not like to see like a retracement back in a take of this level, 19,605. That's going to sort of confirm that this was just a bunch of garbage. Like, look at this. There it is right there. Look what happens. We take this level, start to shoot up, and then all of a sudden that's the new support. And then you just keep going higher. So right now it's kind of trying to tell us that maybe some of these levels into here, that's the new support level. So look out for breaks long. So if you're trading the futures, that's the pattern to me is kind of looking long off of a bottom of 19,580 or so. Yeah, so NVIDIA's back to flat there. So that was good to take some profits.
Yeah, nasty for Tesla. Remember, they have the shareholder vote tonight, but look, the meeting's it's like 4:30. So, by the time you actually even get results, you'll stick around. You'll have to probably find that out on Twitter or wherever you get it. How big of a deal is it going to be? We're just here to trade the price action tomorrow, but it is getting pretty heavy. If it takes out the low of the day today, don't forget yesterday's top was that 180 level. So there's room to 180 if it does make a move to the downside. Here, Matt Carnes, did we miss something on Hewlett-Packard? Maybe. You know what? Like I've had my earpiece in to get news, but during the middle of the day, I know there's a couple of points a day where I was not listening to the news service, so it's always possible you miss a story. I haven't called it up, but I would wager to suggest that something happened at 105 on HPE. I just got back into Apple, but give me a second. I'll look it up and see if we missed something on HPE. I just got to type the symbol in there and see. But you guys saw that chart. Let's be real. If nothing happened, that doesn't actually make any sense. Yeah, I don't see anything on the. Actually, you know what? I don't see anything. I see something about some options action, but that's at 2:02, and that move that you saw was starting at noon. So, there was some elevated options action reported at 12. So I can't really tell you. HP, maybe it's a technical thing. There was a story this morning. That's a pretty delayed reaction to move at 12 o'clock off a story this morning. Where it's just a collaboration between them and Y-Pro and HPE. There was that story this morning, but that was like at 8:30 in the morning. If they're going to move at 12 o'clock on an 8:30 story, a bit strange, I would say.
Yeah, there was another story there that was.
Was there?
No. It was another company. I couldn't remember what it was, and it was like, but this story was it was Boeing. I flipped over to Boeing, and there was something about how they were investigating some. Quality control issues, and then I was like, oh my god, I got to punch short. But then they said, but that story was from earlier. So it looks like there we got a nice move down right off the open there at 10 o'clock, or roughly around there. We got a huge flush down $5 on that exact report, and then I had read or heard about it into here, and then all of a sudden it was a psych. That was earlier.
Algos must have a field day with Boeing,
321.
like, just playing off of the news the last
Oracle.
little bit. Because when you just said, it's a story from earlier, you could probably just throw a dart at a day and find a quality control issue story for Boeing at this point. So it's not like, and then the algos win with that early move because they just have the news piped right into the feed. So they just get it digitally and then execute the trade, and then you have to find an entry point after that. Sometimes we can, sometimes you're just way too late. So the only thing I'm in is Apple. NVIDIA is not doing much. I want to see Tesla.
NVIDIA is the worst.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not doing anything. I could have traded anything else right now, and I'm just focused on this.
That Tesla breakdown was probably the right place to go. So, the first available pop is quite literally right here in a downtrend, 183.25. So if this is actually moving, then I think this is the place to be. You got the catalyst of the vote tonight. You've already got a breakdown. You've got volume. It's weak when the market is strong. You've got a lot going on for this level. So it's the same principle as when buying dips. First available pop, it consolidates here. Kind of give it in, like you happen to have like a previous support level kind of at 183.5. So I think you just give it to the 183.5. If it makes a fresh low, that's 182. If it breaks 182, lots of really bad things have happened. Can it drop 3? It can drop $1, that's for sure. I don't think it can drop all the way to that 180 level from yesterday. I'd be surprised if you might see that in the aftermarket. I don't think you'll see that here before the close.
All right, NVIDIA is trying to get now into the 30s, which it's there now. So we're 20 cents in the money, but whatevs. We'll see if it goes a little lower than that right now. Amazon. So what I want to go over here today was we did have one short idea on the sticky note today because we were like, what if there is a short? So we said Amazon. So Amazon today on that short, we marked down 188. Like it's right 188 short Amazon. So oh yeah, come on, bring it on down. Nice move there for NVIDIA. But Amazon, yeah, that was. The Stream Deck maybe is down. Oh no, there it is. Okay, it's coming there. Just hitting it too many times. There's the short on Amazon. And here it goes all the way to the downside. And then we covered, it must have broke the 50 period at that time at 184.50. That's $3. But then once we covered it, I guess, I'm assuming that this 50 period wasn't there. Obviously, it would have been a little bit tighter at that time, but then look what happens. All the way down into the downside and it's kept going. So we lost out on about $1.50 of that move and we're right back into this level. So I thought that was a good one. And next time, just like when you have the longs, we had the long in Apple at 194, it went to 205, and we were able to still have a piece on. We'll probably, again, you got to get out because I don't know when it's reversing. but that was a good one. Could have been even bigger. So we'll always try to hold on to a little piece there if that does go through. All right, so that was Amazon, AMD, and Apple. So I just have the big names today. I don't have much else. All right, so Coinbase right now. I talked about from one big name to another. We found out, wait a minute, did we find out that Coinbase was being added? Was it?
No.
S&P 500
It was speculation.
Crowd.
It's speculation.
GoDaddy
and
something
KKR.
else. The one that we don't know. Yeah, KKR. Okay.
It was,
yeah.
you know, it was a viewer, or was someone watching the show was like, oh, Coinbase. They said there was a rumor that Coinbase could be one of the next ones.
And I think it's true.
It makes sense to me. I can't, like, I haven't seen an article that says that, but it makes some logic, it makes a lot of logical sense, to be sure. But the ones that are getting added next week, like we said,
those
KKR,
big ones.
Crowd is going to be a big one. That's the one I would hold out hope for a big closing trade. GoDaddy, I'm not excited about at all because I believe GoDaddy is just going from one index to another. It's not like a pure addition. You want something which is not in and then going in. You don't want to go in from like the 600 to the 500, just from a trading basis, because you don't get the same kind of oomph. It's like the same like the Russell. Like if it goes from the small to mid, like it's just not a big deal. Not as big of a deal. I was asked, am I still holding long Chevron? Yes, I'm not adding to it. Nothing's happening in the stock. I'm long at 303. It's at 315 and not going anywhere. I'm offering near the local high at 335, and if it breaks $3, I'll just get out. But this stock is barcoding for the last hour or so, and just like I said, it's not doing anything. Tesla's starting to roll back in. The futures aren't doing much. Tesla's trying to break 182.75. If it gets to low of the day, want to get out 182s. I don't think it has the juice to get to 180, but it's also already 330. That's the other part of this. I didn't realize how late it was. That's what happens. You have some fun. We get Raider in there. And next thing you know, we do our rundown, all that stuff, and next thing you know, it's already 330. So I'll be out at the low of the day on Tesla, seeking the next trade. And Mara is now pulling right back in to that 20 level. I'll take it one more time in the 90s and just see if it plays this range one more time here, maybe even twice if it has the time. It's basically just going from $20 into like 19.8, 19.7. But we're running out of time for scalp trades in ranges when I don't want to be in this, necessarily past 330, depending on what these imbalances look like early. Oh, Apple just broke 214, so I'm out of that one.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Apple, I made a mistake on that one. So I was just giving props to Zion Lala there for talking about this NVIDIA trade. I mean, we just got filled at 16s. So thumbs up on that one. Thumbs down on this Apple. Look where I got stopped out. I mean, we were long at 211.75. We got stopped out there on that 50 break. We talked about that, breaking through the 50-period moving average. So, womp womp. I just wasn't, well, whatever. So I had 10%, or not even 10% of that trade left. We have still 50% of this trade left. Let me get another piece out here at 18 if we're able to do that right now. So we're making back everything, absolutely everything right now. And that's what we talked about with scalping. You want to be able to hold. This is what I'm trying to do better. Did we just not get that 18 there? No, we did not. All right, I'm going to. See, so this is what you got to do as a scalper. We just talked about it. All right, now I'm going to cancel my 18s and then wait for lower now because you can't get out too much. So again, as it comes back down in, you still have to watch these stocks because we just made back on NVIDIA everything that we had lost, just trying to screw around with it right here. So trying to scalp out, you got to take some out at the 50 period, but then be able to hold for a little bit more. But then if you don't get out of enough of it, then it comes back up and it kind of negates the trade. So we have 40% left, and I want to hold this because I do think, and again, it's just that same level. I'm not going to just keep beating a dead horse about it, but we're not breaking through here. So we've already we were wrong if you take that exact level right there. We talked about that. It was these levels up here. So again, trying to give this some room into the close. So let's wait to see. And remember I said if I don't take this, I'd be upset with myself. So I'm glad that we did. So now we're not upset with ourselves. All right, what's up, Piper? I don't know enough about Samsung.
No dead horses were actually beaten in the making of.
No, we don't do that.
It's a weird saying.
It is, isn't it?
It's a very
beat a dead horse. Yeah, it's like a dead cat bounce.
Like that one doesn't make it. The dead cat bounce is like that's even more weird to me.
Yeah.
Because like
I was just thinking they make wigs out of horsehair, and we already had that little wig talk there before. Don't they?
We talked about wigs.
No, we talked about. Remember, Ramin said
Oh
Botox
no, we're talking
and all
about
that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so that's that. So what else? Oh, tonight. Oh, Samsung. What was that question? Do I have a view on Samsung? So here we go, right here. What is the chart for Samsung? Because isn't it? Because there's an ADR, right? Is that what you're talking about? Last 3 weeks looks like they have a short. All right, well, we'll look at it. Let me know what the symbol is. I can just look it up, but I don't, for some reason, we never. Samsung's been on the watch list before. I should know what the symbol is for that.
Oh, now it moves?
What are you looking at? Tesla,
no,
maybe. I'm still waiting to see.
Yeah,
someone tell me
Chevron
what
just,
the symbol is.
Well, I said I was offering 335. Well, it spiked to 335 and it's pulled back. So I'm out of long Chevron. That story is done for the day. Maybe it holds 3
Is it
tomorrow.
raining outside?
I'd love for it to hold $3 again tomorrow, but the volume was nothing, so I just got out at 335. And it was asked, Tisha was asking in the chat today, like, why a few more? Like, I was probably more active in small caps this morning than usual. It was because of the whipsaw action and everything else. Like, this was one of the only cleaner things trending off the VWAP earlier, so that's why I was involved in it. I just saw a little more clean action, but not much happening in the afternoon. We did just take it out there. Mara, we reloaded Mara at 1997s. It just came right back into the 80s, so that $20 level continues to hold. 70 has been the low, so it's scalp into the 70. Tesla's about 68 cents in the money. I'm on the bid at 182. If it prints 182, I'm getting out of that. The early look imbalances have probably just started to come in.
I didn't even think about imbalances. You scared me there.
No, early look.
Yeah, I
early
heard
look.
the early look part at the end.
Yeah, if it was 350 already, that would be crazy. GM 1.2, CNQ 2.5 million to sell, GM 1.2 million to sell, SU. Yeah, it's nothing really that stands out, so we get to wait till 350 and see what happens. Yesterday, there were notable sell imbalances in NVIDIA, Apple, Amazon, and I think one more of the big cap tech names. NVIDIA paired off right away. Apple's actually ended up getting bigger as the stock tanked. So we'll watch out for some of that. Maybe you see a bit of a repeat at the close here on those specific big cap tech names.
Okay. Yeah, I was agreeing with all you. The Adobe bottom is 433. So with an 8%.
What's a
come on, NVIDIA. There it is right there. 433, 434 is this 52-week low.
8%.
So I just want to show you, like, that's it right there coming back in. So 8% on 450. You know, you lose 10%, that's 45 bucks, and then you're down into here 400 bucks again. So in and around 4. All right, whatever. Where's this stupid thing? Page 1. Where's the weed thing? All right, just do this. I was going to go weed Batman. Do you have weed Batman? I was going to say 4. Yeah, that's one of them. Where's the weed Batman? I have it.
Where
I have it.
Is it? Oh, there it is.
I'm only going to say that because I was going to say maybe this 420 level. I'm just like, okay, it's right here. So let's do that. Low-hanging fruit. So that would be about that, 6 to 8%. And then if you lose that a little bit, then you get into 400 again, where there's clearly something here. But you can't just say, I'm going to buy 400 and then say there's something down here at 320. I mean, that's 20% of a hit to hold it all the way down to there. So I don't know if getting into Adobe pre-earnings is a good call or not. Like, it's under the 50-period moving average. Trend is definitely here. The 200's way away, is at 540. CRM, although CRM is a little bit of a different beast, but still, sales, software as sales, and things like that haven't been received well. And I know Adobe's a subscription model. The only subscription model I like right now, I mean, obviously there's Spotify, but come at the king, and that's the subscription I'm talking about with Apple. So we'll wait to see.
Spotify raising their prices.
Spotify's.
Isn't that what we just heard the story last week?
Yeah, we did, but I mean, they didn't go down on that, did they? They're probably down today. Yeah, down 2%, but Spotify went to 330. Like, I don't know. This stock looks really good to me, but all right. NVIDIA just bounces off 129, but we got some out there. We'll cover that when we get back from Madeira.
PayPal just putting in its largest volume candle of the day here, and it is to the downside. This report from The Verge circling around here. Apparently, Apple is looking to introduce Apple Pay on non-Safari desktop browsers, as reported by Mac Rumors as well. So The Verge and Mac Rumors reporting that Apple Pay could now be available soon on Chrome, Firefox, and even Windows PC. So basically, broader availability for Apple Pay, sending PYPL to the downside here, guys.
Ever since that Apple event, let me just go over Tesla, because we got out of Tesla on a trail. It bounced off. Remember I said if it bounced off 182, we're gonna get out. This is Tesla here bouncing off 182.13. So I trailed out of it, and a big thank you to everybody in the chat that was like, "Hey, Tesla's moving, not the other things that you're looking at, Neil." You were 100% right. Tesla was barcoding. We wrote it off. It broke down. First available consolidation was right here at the 183 area, so we did get it out. Mara is continuing to go but it's now stalling at 19.8. So I'm not going to reload this a fourth time, I don't think. You're getting a little bit late in the day. But as far as PayPal goes, if you if you shorted it at the exact moment during that Apple event when they announced this to begin with, okay, so that was like you would have shorted the algos would have shorted it here, but let's just say you shorted the close that day. That was at $67. It then went 67 the next open and dumped all the way to 64. Tried to gap up, dumped again to 63. Tried to go up again and gap up again, and then dumped all day long. Suffice to say, when a company has bad news and they sell it off, and then they try to gap it higher the next day, and then they sell it off again, at some point, that's just a pattern worth trading. So I'm slapping the fail on myself, because Sean and I talked about this several times, that this was bad for PayPal. We don't show, this doesn't show our past trades like it used to, but believe me, I haven't shorted PayPal once in the last week. And it is absolutely insane. Look how good these shorts have been.
We should get that feature back.
Easier. I don't know what the deal is. So if you've been watching it for a while, the same way, if I pull up, I'm just in Mara right now.
Anything.
I'm in Mara right now. And I'm pretty sure, I know I've traded Mara multiple times in the last week, so it's showing the trades I've made today off 20, but it used to actually show our execution from days before, which I actually liked, because sometimes go over your trades without having to tracked it or go back into a trade list. I could just look at my chart and be evaluating my trades right here in real time that you might have done a week before. How did I trade around this price level? You'd see all the executions before. Let's go over to the green screen with Adara.
Time to talk about some of these names making larger moves that we haven't maybe discussed or as discussed as in depth, including Warner Brothers Discovery here, WBD down more than 4% here. Apparently Liberty Group announcing intentions to acquire Formula One from Warner Brothers. So WBD to the downside and potential acquisition of its Formula One streaming rights. We also have here CMG, Chipotle, definitely on watch ahead of its split later this month, getting some positive analyst notes from Goldman Sachs and TD Cowen. And last but not least, Arista Networks, ANET. This one up almost 6% today. Morgan Stanley yesterday reiterating an overweight rating and raising its price target for the stock. So quite a few names to talk about here, guys.
I wanted to show this is my daughter. This is a couple years ago at Halloween.
Pull it back. We're trying to see the picture.
Wow, Ramin, you're trying to. Wow, Ramin. Yeah, put on that one. Yeah, that worked out well. Hold on a second. Quiet, I'm done. All right, so I also wanted to say that we got note today that we just got a whole bunch of views, and I want to thank everybody for the Freedom and Wealth podcast. As we're up to now 1.18K subscribers right now, so we're starting to rock and roll. Go find all these little tidbits of all the past episodes that we've had. Compound interest, we talked about that if you're interested in that. Best kept secret, who knows what that is? I'm not even sure I know. And then as we go forward, many more things. Breaking free. Okay, interesting. Most valuable trait as a trader. I think Brendan said it was resilience. So we can talk about that. We could talk about that on the show. We could do that right now. That's
what Brendan said, but then you had your ideas as well. So
yeah, so
check that out. But he did say resilience.
Go check it out as we'll just keep on. Adaptability is obviously a big one there as well, and being able to have sort of that confidence and stuff like that. We talk about it all the time. Go find it on the Freedom and Wealth podcast. NVIDIA is not going down. So we already covered some there, and we are out. Now we only have a third left. We did cover some more down here at 129. I was really happy with this 50-period break because you could see we hadn't broke it since 1 o'clock. And I thought that, okay, I was already sort of wondering about that 130 level coming through because, again, that's a level that we wrote onto here. We wrote 128s long, 130s. Both of those really cashed in so far, but the 130, we're waiting for the break. I wasn't thinking a short off of it, but now I am. So we're going to see if we can get a little bit more downside push into VWAP into the close. And Neil already mentioned it about the imbalances and how important they were yesterday. It's going to be risky to hold something against these imbalances. And Raider Trader brought up the fact that next week is the rebalancing. But people often get ahead of everything.
Yeah, they were all sells, man.
Yeah, so
which direction do they have to reweight big cap tech? Just ask yourself that question.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So for the NASDAQ's at all-time highs, and NVIDIA's just ripping, and Apple's ripping, and everything like that. So there could be a possibility that there could be some overweight in people's portfolios, in different ETFs and hedge funds and all of that. So we'll see if the sell continues. I thought it was something billion yesterday as an ad.
2.2. No. It was overall, the SPY was 2.2 billion. We get them separated.
It was
now.
a sell.
Yeah, we get them separated now. So we get a number for the NASDAQ and a number for the SPY. It was 2.2 million sell yesterday on the SPY.
Yeah,
we didn't get the NASDAQ yesterday, I don't think, as a total.
No, we did not. So yeah, what's up? Someone just there. I want to say, what's up, Nelson Tribe Gaming? What's your favorite game? Bro? My kid right now is, I forget what, he was Fortnite, now he's off Fortnite, and there's something else going on. You said, is NVIDIA worth getting back into, or should you get, I'm not, because I'm already in it, so that would be the first thing. I think if it comes back up to 70s, like where we're short, then I feel like that's fine, because then your out is going to be 130. Because we've already taken out 2/3 of this, if it goes to 130, we'll wind up losing net on the trade, because then that would be a 40-cent hit when we're only in the money 30 cents, so that would be bad. And I just don't think it's worth it right now, because that 50 period, although right now we're underneath and we could be heading to the downside. You see this little number right there, up 3% into the close, the name can keep going. So a lot of traders will buy strength. We heard actually Raider Trader talk about that, buying strength in names and looking at the different sectors, what's been going up, what's been going down, and then playing off of those names in particular. So if you're going to play weakness, the PayPal chart we just showed you, Apple's relatively weak today, so maybe that one for a sell potentially into the close, but maybe not NVIDIA, not up 3%. Or if you want to go NVIDIA, maybe just go AMD. But
AMD's been a different story. So only because someone just asked about Roblox, I'm going to draw a channel on Roblox, and I'm only putting it in right now. Like if Roblox, it's a dump bottom. Since it was a brick wall at $48, so it never ran through that. So the last test of 48, then the high right before the dump. If this breaks out at $38, this looks pretty spicy. But like we always talk about, for a stock which is in a slight downward trend, I'd rather be involved in a bounce I'd rather be involved in a bounce where I'm getting confirmation that I like, as opposed to catching a falling knife for a trade. If I'm talking about a value invest and a stock I want to hold forever, then it's not that big of a deal. I'll just kind of buy it either at a key level or something that I like. Oh, in my head I was going to long on there. I'm not reloading MAR. If it breaks 20, I'm out. It was LGVN I was going to get at. When a stock that does 200 million in volume, that's up 50%, at one point up 100% on the day, and holding VWAP like this, if it can't break resistance, you got to watch out for the profit takers on a day two like this. Because anybody that's long this from yesterday is long, they could be long at $1, like you can hear $1.40. Even if you bought this at the close, you're long at $1.70. Like when it gets to 340, that's a double up for that person, and the volume's not even there. So when it breaks this, I think it's just a technical break. The more important thing is to not have wanted to reload it, I think, on Longeveron. Double checking GameStop. It's still at $28.90. Last I looked at it, it was at $28.90. It did go all the way down to 28, then back to $29.20. It's still right here, just kind of chilling out at the highs. Tomorrow is going to be the event, so we have to wait around for that. Big event tonight, of course, is going to be Adobe earnings, and then the Tesla vote at 4:30. If you're into restoration hardware, then they report as well.
And if you're actually into restoration hardware, make sure you bring your checkbook. It's a little bit of an expensive place there, but Williams-Sonoma as well. We've seen a resurgence in some of those names. Okay, come on, NVIDIA. You do that damn thing and get a little bit lower. I am bidding 11s. I mean, again, we know this name can be violent, so let's see if we can get in. Then we're bidding O's as well. Downside push there in NVIDIA. Hopefully we'll continue to hold out for that. A lot of people like Adobe, man. We talk to our guys around here, Fabian and Ramin, both. Every time on the recap show, we talk about Adobe. They do favor it. So I know the product's strong, so we'll watch out for that. All right, we haven't talked about GameStop in a minute, maybe. All right, bouncing around 28 bucks. Let's have a quick look here to see into the close. And it just looks really strong. I mean, we tested VWAP, we tested. As long as we're above the 200 period, generally speaking, a 50 period moving average would be like a trend change. But right now, all that this is showing is up, and it's really kind of respecting it. We did get one dump down, but to go from 29 to 28, 20, I guess that's decent enough, but I'm not sure you would have got stopped out because, again, the 200 periods here at 28, and there's also great, actually, this looks pretty good here at 28. So there's 28, didn't work, boom, down $3 or $2. then all of a sudden 28 does work, and you go from 28 up to 29.20 or 29 and change, and then it comes back in, retests, and then hold, and then up another dollar from there. So I think this is a great level for GameStop. And if you're going to be taking a long right now at 29, you're going to give yourself about $1.20 worth of risk to get that after-hour bump. I mean, we've already seen where this stock can go. So tomorrow, we've already highlighted it, right? It's tomorrow at 4, no, not 4 o'clock. Yeah, tomorrow at 4 o'clock, where we're supposed to get the announcement.
Oh, is it? I just assumed it would be the same as today.
No, remember, that's what we were talking about. It's not during the
okay.
day. So I don't know how
maybe
I don't know how people are going to react to that.
That's kind of less fun.
That's what I mean. It's less fun for us, but I feel like for the stock, it might be more fun because after 4 o'clock,
Oh yeah, for most of
there's no stopping the moves.
a couple of traders were just saying GameStop's probably going to run after 4 o'clock today. I was like, yeah, that's less fun for a day trader for two reasons. One, you can't trade it, and then two, if it runs aftermarket and gaps too high, you get caught up in a situation where it's trading at prices that you don't even like the long. The last time it did this, it was really no fun for anybody if you were a day trader. I want to go back to it's this chart. When it did the huge run and then you had that monster gap up, it was just sell, 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 unless you had one long at the open. That's one little candle in here. So the worst case scenario is that this gaps through all of this resistance, and then you're trading already at like 38. Like, I don't want this thing trading at $36, $37 tomorrow because you're right in front of resistance, and I don't want to be punching longs if it's gapping up that high in front of resistance. So with 3:45, 4 minutes to go, I'll get to the desk in about 10 minutes. I'm not really seeing, unless this starts going like now and breaking the highs, I don't see any trade in GameStop. It would have to start taking out these highs and pressuring the 30 level in the next couple of seconds. That said, if at 350 we get a sell imbalance on a couple of these big cap tech names, there might be a smidgen of a trade there. Tesla did bounce, and it did get right back into 183. I'm going to wait this till the imbalance is. If it happens to come a sell as well, I think that could be maybe a quick little punch to the short if you're fast enough there on TSLA. Qualcomm, is noted by a few people in the chat, has been very strong this afternoon. So there you go, up 1%. It's always good on a day like today to find like that relative strength and relative weakness. So Qualcomm, double bottom off VWAP, going to close up 1%. It had a good day. I'd like to say that ARM, in a lot of ways, had a very good day in that it's up, holding 1%, actually holding VWAP as well. I thought this was going to be a short, not just today. I thought it was going to break down 150 tomorrow, and then we take another leg down tomorrow. Clearly not the case. Double bottom at 151. We love 151. And in complete hindsight, if I was bullish enough, look at the break yesterday. So at noon, this broke a double top or triple top at 151. Today, it bounces off a double bottom at 151. Resistance to support. I was biased to the short side on the stock and therefore unwilling to reverse into what might have been an obvious long on ARM. And hopefully someone got it there. And congratulations if you did. It's bouncing off VWAP and up 1%. It's probably the most underrated stock the last couple of months, I would say, is ARM. Like, it's one of the more quiet, near double ups after getting smoked. They had a 3-day rally down $45, and the stock is now up 70 since then.
Actually, that is a good call.
It's not bad, but I feel like I don't think I've been long much in this. I had a couple of winning shorts on this move, but I don't think I've actually had a big long day on ARM. Maybe a couple of good scalp trades here and there, which is kind of embarrassing when the stock goes 85 to 160.
Yeah, there was, and that's the other thing about buying up, the right companies on bad earnings. I mean, it wasn't even that bad, but it's just as opposed to buying an Adobe or a CRM or something like that.
Well, CRM. Where is it now?
Bad. It's still down there. It kind of came back.
I'm glad I didn't buy this one then.
It's not all the way down again, but all right. We just took a piece out of NVIDIA again down here at 129 and change. So we'll see if that wants to hold. We just took it out at actually 20s. Sorry. We still do have that 11 bid, and then IM. Okay, we just got the 11 bid. All right, there we go. So now we have someone try. Oops, just got eaten up. You see, I was just like, oh, there we go. Now we have 60,000. Did you see how fast 60,000 shares just got taken out right there? Like, I mean, the math, we could probably do this, but 60,000 times 130, 7 million, almost $8 million right there just got taken out as if it didn't even exist on NVIDIA. I was just going to bring it to your attention, and boom, it just got taken out. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but yeah, so No matter how many shares anybody is trading, we've always had on this show people say like, oh, you know, these guys are trading GameStop or whatever, they're holding up the market. Like, BS. Like, the guy just sat there with 60,000 shares and then just got filled immediately. Like, that guy's not holding up any kind of market, and then it just went against him, and not even, as if it didn't even happen. So that's...
Day traders don't hold up the market.
Not just day, I don't think anybody these days do, unless you have a serious... Like, we showed you guys that NVIDIA, and it was printing, I feel like, hundreds of thousands of shares at whatever that level was, 129. Then it broke it, and it didn't even really react. So I don't know. But yeah, anyways, that was just, I just wanted to say that because that got eaten up fast. But we got that fill down there anyway. So there's that 11 fill. So that was good. That order must have drove it down. I'm kind of just delaying here until we get
20 seconds,
these.
yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to get these imbalances, and you're going to see here when they come through. We're expecting to see again. Expecting to see something. I don't know which way they're going to go. We are getting lighter and lighter on this. I am bidding below 128, 129 right now. But now that I see we're only a couple seconds away, let's put another bid like at 129 flat, and then hopefully we'll get a break. And if it's a bid higher, then we can punch out. There's NVIDIA. Look at that. What a surprise.
2.6.
The day I'm long,
Way.
the day I'm short, I mean it goes long. So
That's
all right.
pretty much what it was to the sell side yesterday. This 2.6.
Yeah, so we'll get a little bit out there at 34s.
The only thing here.
It doesn't seem like it's ripping too much. We got to get rid of this broker.
Apple's a small buy, 600,000 to buy on Apple.
All right, so what is it doing to the market? The market's
Tesla's
not
a
doing
sell though of 500,000, but that's not 500,000 is not that big on Tesla. I'm just gonna punch out of Mara maybe because most of that's to the buy side, so we'll just get out Tesla. That's all I see. It's Nvidia, Apple, and Tesla's only 500,000. That's not even a big deal. So watch out for that potentially to pair. Yesterday was a sell imbalance that paired off really fast. So I guess the buyers came in on Nvidia and they've stuck around here. So let's see what happens in the last.
Oh yeah, I've got to fix my stop. All right, so I'm now just going to stop where we're in. We only have like now about 20, maybe less than 25% left of this trade. I've just been getting out, so I'm just going to, I can tell you in a second how much exactly. All right, so there, the stop is now in and we should be okay. So we just, again, like just before it came out, right, we got that 20 fill. We already told you we had 30% before, so we get that 20 fill, we get that 11 fill, and then we get another 34 fill. So looking over right now, I think I would say we have about 15% left of that total trade, and NVIDIA is still 2.5 million to buy, but look at that. It was at one point over 12 million because you add the paired up, right? And so at 355, I'm expecting this name to probably flip around to a sell because there has been a lot of interest. So more interest will come in, and you can see NVIDIA is actually going lower right now. I'm still keeping my bid there at O's. So hopefully we'll get a fill, and if we do, that'll be good. And if we don't, that would also be fine because we'll just be able to punch out at some point. It doesn't look like we're too scared yet of this trade. Here it comes. So again, we took a little piece out there at 34, not trying to play too hard with the imbalances. So far so good here, and we'll just wait to see what happens. GameStop, let's just check that out. We said that there could be some dip buys if it got into 28. It did not. And GameStop right now kind of just holding out for that. Tomorrow's Friday, so you're going to get options expirations again on weeklies. Obviously, there's daily options expirations as well. GameStop doesn't seem to care too much about daily because it's just hovering around, so it doesn't seem to be too much action there on GameStop. I would say tomorrow is the day for that.
It's tried to break the high like 3 times. GameStop here. It just can't seem to go. Remember I said it really just had to happen soon for there to be any trade that we would try to make here. So it feels like it's going to be an aftermarket fun time for everybody. Like if it moves, we'll definitely bring it up in the aftermarket show if it makes a move. But it's not just any level is trying to break. Like remember when this dumped yesterday, it was right here at $29.50. And this is exactly the level it can't break through. This would be a pretty significant breakout through this high. It's actually $29.70. So I could really see this. I could see it flying if it breaks $29.70. But as I speak, it's pulling right back in. So no fun at all for that name. Oh my, Tesla did just break. Yeah, Tesla just broke the 182. It's continuing to flush. Maybe it does want 180. In the aftermarket today. That imbalance was only 500,000 on Tesla. It wasn't much at all. I don't even see it oh, there it is. 400, still there, 477,000. My guess is that'll easily pair off in a couple of minutes. That is not big at all for Tesla. They can, anybody can pair that pretty quickly. NVIDIA is starting to get smaller. It was just 2.1, now back to 2.4. But it's 1 minute that you expect to see those big pairs come off there. So it's really just Apple at 900,000 now. That's getting smaller. NVIDIA and Tesla. Tesla under a lot of pressure going into the vote where Elon says he's got the numbers.
The vote tonight.
He says he's got the numbers. We're going to find out. You know, you're all confident. Do you actually have the juice? I'm guessing he
Forgot about
I mean,
the
he
vote.
knows. No, he knows. Like at the end of the day, you probably wouldn't come out and say that unless you're pretty sure. Right? Like it's like politicians. Like they know whether a bill's passing or not before they get that vote. Like that's how it works.
No, I just meant to trade it into the close.
Yeah.
Oh, well. All right. Yeah, it's something. It doesn't matter. I know you were on it, so you had a winner there at the end, right? So it doesn't, at the end of the day, you can't trade everything. All right, so just there it is. I don't know if you guys were watching or not. Neil just talked about some of those imbalances and was going over them.
It's bigger.
No, but so something happened. We got filled at 129.06.
It's now 3.2 to buy.
Yeah, so I mean, right now we're going to flip it in a second, so let's just wait to see what happens at 355. I'm just here to tell you we have less than 10% left because we did get that O's filled down there. So here we go. Let's see what happens. The stop now is breakthrough 70 where we're long, where we're short, sorry. So let's see. So it doesn't flip, so it just stays 1.4 million shares. So it looks like it'll probably just take it out. But whatever, we can get out of a piece if we want to. All right, we'll get out of 53s then. Let's just see. Hopefully it falls back down in. We have such a small piece, but it's been a good show so far. So hopefully you guys have all enjoyed it. Visa, is Visa doing anything on a buy and balance? I'm just trying to go over some different names here. Visa today up 0.4. There it is. So the buy and balance definitely helping that out. We're still watching out NVIDIA. NVIDIA is still at 1245. Space, we heard about that one. Reverse split today. 20-1 they announced. So this stock will be pretty soon, probably 10 or so cents, but it will reverse split. So 20-1. So it will be up to, that'll be $14, $15. Oh, hell yeah. That's a good short when that happens. HPQ Siri, Microsoft, I just saw in here as well. There's Amazon. This one is going to be a short, I think, at some point. We shorted it today for sure. Amazon back down in. So, all right, you're out. So.
I'm going to mosey on over to the desk. We got Adobe after the bell. We've got myself and Darren, and we've got Danielle Shea coming through.
That's going to be a good
Tesla vote will probably be, you're not going to find out until after we're already done. But that'll be spicy. Tesla tanking into the close. Good luck on the close.
Yes, thanks.
And we'll see you guys at the desk in a couple of minutes.
All right, thanks, Neil. Go get it over there. Good earnings coming through today. We've talked about it already with Adobe. That's going to be definitely a big one to watch out for. Then possible GameStop earnings dancing around, Restoration Hardware as well. And then don't forget to give a lot of love to Miss Danielle Shea because she was talking all about Broadcom, and we had set up some options plays for that and everything. So good call on that. And AVGO into the close right now, still down on the day, as in if you're looking at it from the open. Get rid of those. Those imbalances don't mean too much anymore. So it was up to 17 and change, back down to 1680. Ask her where these dip buy opportunities are. They're only, I think this move was about 8% or so. So a nice move higher there, 12, 13, 8% expected on that. Look, I don't know if there's going to be a dramatic move down here or not. We now have less than 10% left on this trade. So if it does go 5 more pennies, we're out of this. We're now back to a flat position. But this is why we scalp it out and why we try to explain it the best we can on the show. So it's 3:57 right now. Let's just flip over to Tesla to have a quick look. I did forget that there was a vote tonight. We remembered it here. Obviously, it was one of the bigger stories in the morning, but we could have touched on it a little bit more. This fade, I don't know why it was up so much on that, other than we had talked about that, hey, you make Elon happy, that's probably better for Tesla. And he had talked about if he had, 26% or 25% of the company, he would investigate more AI opportunities for Tesla or put in the AI or whatever that sort of threat was there. So maybe the pay package does help him get to that level. So we'll see. That could be a turnaround story there for Tesla if they accept that. I would say if there's a problem with this package tonight or some sort of a wrench gets thrown into the deal of something there, I would short this tomorrow because that euphoria today is worn off big time. You know, like we haven't heard nothing about the pay package and the stock is down 5%. You know, because you're up more than that. I thought you were up 8 or 9% at the top. So now you're only up 3. So not the greatest there. Anything moving around here in the close? Let's just check out on the biggest ones before we go. Apple right now, nice move, man, up to 215. I mean, man, did we ever nail that one? We rode that bull today on Apple. That was a good little. We wrote down 212. Big dump in actually for Apple. Remember we talked about it being relatively weak into the market? Well, now look, right? Market 0.6, Apple 0.8 right now. So Apple's stronger than the market. We had noted before it was weaker. You know, you fight with these guys, you're always going to lose, man. Look at NVIDIA. Now NVIDIA is going to do this. We're out, and we're so happy that we're able to get out of NVIDIA at that bottom there. And again, just remains true. You don't break view up, you're not going anywhere. All right, so here we go. NVIDIA. It'll be funny because it's going to break this 1300 or 130 in the after hours, and that's going to happen very, very soon. And that's going to be brand new all-time highs right now on NVIDIA. So you just witnessed it. There it is, brand new all-time highs on NVIDIA for today. So I'm going to go back over to page 1 here and get this countdown ready with only 15 seconds left. I would say it breaks it almost right at the bell. Let's see what happens there. There's a nice little pullback here for NVIDIA. There it is. The countdown is now on with only 10 seconds left in the day. We'll watch out for NVIDIA. We got a Dara on the countdown. So 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And there we go. So NVIDIA closes at 1250. Apple closes at 214.50, Tesla, and again, I guess this is a vote, right? So you're not going to get like an instant reaction right now to anything with Tesla. NASDAQ up today, 0.5, PPI better than expected. Market goes up, market comes back down at the end of the day. We have a good day to start with tomorrow. So Friday, NASDAQ's really been ripping up here. Let's see if we can hold on a Friday. Thank you so much for another exciting week. I'm back on Monday. Obi's in this chair tomorrow, so get ready for a lot of excitement on that one. We are now ready. We got the thumbs up. Let's not delay. Earnings coming at 4:05, and perhaps now, watch GameStop, watch Tesla. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you soon.
I feel like you're ready. I'm muted and you guys said absolutely nothing. Let's get the party started. Adobe's going to be after the bell. Today we're here with Adara, who makes fantastic notes about what to go over, because I'll tell you right now, the NASDAQ leading the way to the upside on this fantastic and fun Thursday. The S&P 500 kind of doing okay as well, but it was all about NVIDIA. Tesla making some moves. We're going to have at 4:30 is when that vote will come in for Tesla. We'll probably be out of here, and you're not going to know the results until a little bit later there. But PPI came in below expectations, giving an early boost to the markets. You had a nice little V-shaped recovery and then some selling in there at the end. I do see Adobe's making early moves, but believe me, it's not out just yet. GameStop was supposed to have their investor event. Whatever they had, whether it was a denial of service, they said they had the servers overwhelmed. It will be tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So I guess we'll have some action there in the aftermarket show, talking about some GameStop, which should be fun. Who knows what's going to come from that, Adara. We do expect it to be a little bit fun there. Broadcom actually held out pretty well after their big earnings beat and the split that we're all excited about. So as we await Adobe just ticked 463. So it's up about $3 in the last couple of minutes going into this close. Earnings aren't out just yet here, Dara, but what an unbelievable day it has been.
Yeah, I mean, if you were looking for small caps, you had them in the form of that BTRX, Longeveron. If you wanted a meme stock, you had GME. Sharif was trading AMC. If you wanted, bye Fabian, if you wanted mega caps, you had those in spades as well. I think it was really a day where there was something for everyone. You just had to find the opportunities that worked for you.
Exactly, and speaking of the opportunities that worked, I can tell you the SMH, it's the chips, and more chips. My best trade was a short in ARM, and then ARM was a rocket ship to the upside. And we saw Qualcomm with a strong move at the end of the day. Of course, Broadcom with a big move and looking strong. Micron was unusually strong as well on the bounce. NVIDIA, you can't seem to hold back, so the SMH definitely leading things. The Q's at 0.5% that we talked about. Notably to the downside here, looking at the sectors, TAN didn't do very well. We talked a little bit about KRE with Raider Trader a little bit earlier. By the way, check out the podcast as well. One of the things, I think one of the traits of a good trait of a trader is diligence. And diligence, that's why we go over what the different sectors did. Regardless if you trade them or not, you want to know what's going on in the overall market because it might give you an idea. It might give you some kind of hey, this was strong. in a relatively weak market. Maybe I want to look for longs there tomorrow in an individual name. UNG was down today. If you watched my trade of the week, it came and it went, and this is why I said yesterday, had I actually had that Tellurium, which is a natural gas play, in my personal account, I 100% would have taken this sucker out. There is no question about it. Let me put up a 15-minute chart to give you an idea. So yes, so it did make the move, 60 cents all the way to 95. It double topped at 90, 92 was the other high, so 95, 92. I said it was a play from the 60s into that dollar level. It bounced off the dollar level. Late day rally in it, but so, I mean, I guess if you actually took it a second time off of that 60 support, congratulations, it went back to 80. For me, the move was earlier on in the week when it did it the first time. But natural gas down 3.5%. GDX down 2.5 points as well. So there was a lot of weakness in this market today. Sometimes we sit there and look at the cues, get excited about that blowout report from Broadcom. You're excited about NVIDIA holding out some of those highs, all-time highs over there, and many names making some fresh 52-week or all-time highs. But really, there wasn't a lot of breadth to this market today, which can be a point of weakness. So it's not quite 405 just yet. I don't think we have Adobe.
We don't. I have it ready. When it comes out, I will see it, and I will be like, so.
This is why
it just came out.
It just came out. It had to, because now it's at $487. That was a $30. Just as we're saying it's not out, $495. It's pressing that 500. Somebody in the chat today said it's a long through 490. Well, if you put a stop order through 490, it just broke and you made $17. 507, the current high on Adobe, just tagged 509. So that is a 10% move.
Yeah.
9.92% as a matter of fact, but that's on a pullback. So big move up here for Adobe. What are the numbers? They got to be good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're fantastic. For Q2, adjusted net income, 2.02 billion versus the estimate of 2.02 billion versus the estimate of 1.99 billion. That's going to be a beat. Now we also have here revenue, 5.31 billion versus the estimate of 5.292 billion. That's also going to be a beat. Every number here I'm seeing is a beat across the board here. What was the adjusted EPS? That was going to be a beat here too. I'm not seeing any misses across the board. Adjusted operating income also a beat. 2.44 billion versus the estimate of 2.41 billion. So not seeing any misses there. Guidance, it seems like the market's responding well to as well.
Yes, sir, Adobe. Show them how funky strong is your fight. Just beat it. And the most important thing is the expected move was only 7.8%. So you're up double digits here. This is what we're finally trying to see. Like, as good as some of the earnings have been, we haven't had too many of the big names blow out past expectations. So a nice hold above 500 here, a nice hold above that 8% expected, now up 11 points. So we talk about stocks needing to get into breakouts out of a downward trend. Well, if it holds on to any part of this move, that is exactly what it looks like for Adobe. So beats across the board. Hey, that's 2 nights in a row. We got the main name doing their duty to try to keep these markets going higher, because that's what we ultimately want to see. So good look on Adobe. Just checking it back in on the price action. Yeah, we still holding up here. This is just like, I feel like this is very similar to Broadcom. A lot of times you get that whipsaw and you'll get an immediate pullback. It's holding these highs in the short term here. So you're not really getting a lot of dumping. On the 1 minute, it's pulled back maybe $2 on a $50 move. So that's a lot of strength coming in here. Sometimes when you break those downward trends, you get all this pressure built up. Boom, powder keg, and this is exactly what you can see here. I don't know if we'll be day trading this one tomorrow because, $500 stock. But wow, that's got to be a fun one here for anybody. Good luck to anyone out there that's got it. And we have that Tesla not till 4:30 for anyone that's waiting around for Tesla. That shareholder event, we're not going to know until we're off the air. Oh, Matt Carnes, good luck out there. Said you got 550 calls. If it holds tomorrow morning, you're paying. So far, so good. Good luck to you on that trade. Clearly, the long ain't wrong right now for Adobe. Wow, I always love to see it. Let's see what happens here with Adobe. But before we get into, I know we're going to have Danielle Shea on for a quick second. Every time I'm on with you, we get the earnings, we get excited about it. But I wanted to ask you just specifically about your trading. We've had that split on NVIDIA, which makes it more tradable. Usually you're in NVDL.
Yeah.
How has your experience been trading something after the split?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really great. I was trading NVIDIA basically until it became too expensive for me to afford. So when we were at like 900s, I was trading that live. It's only when it crossed 1,000 that I could not. So that's why I switched to NVDL. But being back in NVDA was great. This is my I was great on it the last 2 days. Today, slightly red on it, but nothing too crazy. I think it was a pretty solid trade. It moved. It's interesting. You realize the tape moves similarly, so you kind of have to think of it. It's still going to be Nvidia. It's still going to give you those crazy moves. Just have your risk management set, and you're good to go. GME was actually my big winner today. I was saying to someone in the chat, I was red on the day, but GME was my only positive stock, and it's the first time I've been positive on GME. Thanks again for getting me those shorts. I was kind of basically playing it both ways off of certain levels, so I was able to be profitable on the long and short side.
Well, I don't want people to get the wrong idea about when we get the shorts. Like if Adara or Sharif will turn over to Sean or I and say, hey, can you go into Metro, which is just the back office portal here at Real Trading, and can you get some pay for shorts? It takes less than 20 or 30 seconds to do. On GameStop, I can tell you right now, you get 100 shares, you pay 12 cents.
Yeah.
Like it's super
deal.
cheap. It's just a day trade, obviously. But GameStop, for what it's worth, it never did break out. I mean, we ended the show talking about if it took out 29.70, it could fly. Well, it never took out that 29.70. I just mean that top from yesterday when all you-know-what broke loose at the end of the day on GameStop, all that call selling. There was apparently a lot of selling in that same June 21st 20 strike. A lot of volume to the sell side, which maybe means Roaring Kitty was getting out of some more. That's what caused this move down. If he was doing the same thing today, it didn't have the same effect as the stock was trending to the upside and actually closing near some of those highs. Adobe, by the way, can't stop, won't stop. Touched 520, back into 516, and still going higher. They like some Adobe. Let's go. I absolutely love to see this. We're always happy to see when people are making some money out there. I know a couple of people in the chat are pretty excited for this one. But Tesla, I know a lot of people are waiting for it. As I said, we're going to have to wait till after 4:30. Is it that big of a deal? Whether he gets the votes or not, that's up to your discretion. But a lot of people have said a happy Elon and a focused Elon is going to be good for the company. In the aftermarket, it did make a sizable bounce. This was tanking into the close all the way down to 181. Sizable bounce to be now at $183. So that's a 1% move in the aftermarket back up here for Tesla. What do you think? You actually think it matters? I mean, they can move to Texas, incorporation. Does he get the pay package? It's already accounted for. It's not going to affect the stock price, whether he gets it or not, but it might affect Elon.
Well, I think I was talking to you about this morning. I think that even if they do vote to ratify this pay package, that doesn't mean the pay package goes through. I was seeing a bit of chatter about this in the chat as well. Basically, even if we do have the pay package, that doesn't mean that there's not going to be another shareholder filing a suit, another judge somewhere being like, no, we can't have this, right? Like, I do think it is worth noting that just because it's ratified doesn't mean it immediately goes through. That being said, the Tesla bulls on Twitter are very excited. They're very down for Elon. So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I have no opinions other than we'll have to see how the cookie crumbles.
And speaking of how the cookie crumbles, I know one person who knows a little bit about Tesla. And certainly, whether or not she's still a Tesla bull, I think that remains to be seen. But we've got our Trader Talk. Hello, Danielle. So I don't know if you could hear, we were just talking about Tesla. So first things first, welcome. Glad to have you here. And in 20 minutes, I guess we'll have the start of the meeting where we find out whether the man's going to get paid.
I think he's going to get paid. I mean, you can see the way that the stock has been trading today. And I mean, for me personally, here's the thing is I've been waiting on this news and on this event because like we talked about last week, this stock has been in consolidation and it was sitting on a critical ledge, right? All it needed was some bad news to break below it or some good news to break above it. And today we got that good news. So we've now broken up above 185. Really, I think we need to get above 190 and especially above 200. And then the stock could resume its uptrend. And I think that this is the news that could make that happen.
Yeah, we were talking about that today on the show as well. Like it was almost, the other thing that happened in this move is it made a false break of that 50 period, which in some ways, I always like if shorts get trapped. It feels like you could have had some shorts almost engage, starting to think it was going to break down maybe into that 150 level, and then you get that hammer reversal. Now, a little bit of pressure going into the end of the day today, but really just back into a key 180 level that ends up holding overall. So I'm kind of hoping some shorts are trapped here. I don't know that I'm completely convinced this is going to be the turnaround myself. I'd like it to actually, hold a close above 190 would feel pretty good here. I'm feeling much better about it. I'm kind of in the camp that I just don't see it as big of a deal whether he gets his pay package or not. I feel like Tesla is his baby, and he might be a bit bitter about it, but I don't know. It doesn't really matter what you think at the end of the day. We're just here to follow that price action, right?
Exactly. And I completely agree with you where we need to see the stock close up above 190. So we need to see it above that resistance. It's got to break out and continue onwards and upwards with that uptrend. And I mean, yes, there's absolutely a lot of short sellers in this stock. I myself was looking at the possibility of shorting this if it broke the 50 simple. So, for me, I do think that the news is pretty important. And also, I think the next earnings report is going to be really important. Now, we know that Tesla has been weak over the last 2 years or so over earnings. So I'm not suggesting that the earnings report itself is going to be amazing, but we do typically see at least a rally going into the earnings report, either through short covering or people that are just cautiously optimistic buying the stock before a potentially good report.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's going to be so key. And we had the last couple of days we've had, today Adobe, yesterday Broadcom with, you can't point to anything. Like the report was pristine. They pretty much beat across the board. They finally gave the split that everybody was looking for, pretty much everything you would have wanted. That's all-time highs that it was able to break out from. Now, Adobe wouldn't necessarily be coming from that today. Adobe's been in a bit of a downtrend, but you've had these kernels of strength in this market where you're getting these outsized moves. Now, particularly something you say a lot, which is look at the expected move and then look at what the stock is doing. And that's why I'm bringing up Adobe here, not to put you on the spot, but Adobe is now 14% to the upside when we had an expected move of 7.8%. What are your thoughts here? It's now at $527. Like, this just went from good to great quick. It's almost twice the expected move, and it's more than the last move. Like, last quarter was of 14% to the upside.
All right, let me check this one out. So let's see. Expected move I have in the options chain of about $40. So it looks like that's pretty close to what you're seeing, right? And then let's see, let me get my overnight data on this one. The main thing about it is, it just goes back to breaking through those resistance zones. So I have it trading up at 527. If I go back to my daily chart and just see, where those resistance zones are, the 50 simple is key and pivotal. The 50 simple came in at 476. So we're far beyond that at this point. And then after that, you just want to look at, okay, where was this previous gap? Is that something that we can look at for a potential fill on a continuation move? And I think it is, because if we could actually hold up above that 527 level, you can see that the top part of this gap right here is at 523. So if we look at and we say, okay, we've already kind of retraced that gap up into 523. If we can stay above that resistance zone, can we trade it all the way back up into 575? I don't see why not, because at this point, that's a major trend reversal. But as you mentioned earlier, the key is that it has to hold the next day, right? It doesn't matter if it's up overnight and by the morning, it gives it all back, right? So it needs to hold, more than, I would say, at least 1.5 times. So I'd say about $60 to the upside. If it's $80 to the upside overnight, that would be the signal for me that it's twice the expected move. And you could probably trade it up into 575.
All right, we'll be excited for that one tomorrow. Speaking of needing to hold the gap, GameStop made a bit of a breakout, and anybody that watched the gap when Roaring Kitty posted that he, his positions and whatnot, and that he was going to be doing a live stream, that was a ridiculous gap that did not hold. It's important. It's not enough that you move in the aftermarket. The buyers have to actually be there the next day when the market opens up. It's too important not to say it every single time here, Danielle. But not the only thing that happened. Apple's been going, I want to talk about Apple at least a little bit here. We're post-Fed, and Apple typically doesn't move like this, and we know it hasn't been moving like this, but when it broke that $200 level, the last couple of days have been very violent for this stock relative to what it normally does. The event gave everybody what they wanted. Everyone's talking super cycle, and it's in the midst of a pretty big breakout here. What's your look? It's like we call it like a blue sky setup. Like, you're through those highs. You had one pullback so far. A little bit of weakness at the close yesterday and a little bit of weakness here today. But what are your thoughts after this massive run?
Well, first of all, I'll point out that it looks relatively similar to Adobe. Obviously, Adobe's down a little bit more, but I mean, you can see the way that this stock was in a downtrend, and then suddenly you had an earnings report. That earnings report caused a major gap up on high volume, and you can see how it just keeps going, right? And so that's why I'm looking at Adobe and saying, you know, if the gap holds on high volume, we can still trade it to the upside. As far as Apple is concerned, this reversal has been amazing. It's been key and pivotal for the continuation in the NASDAQ. But I mean, it's already made all of my price targets. I had a price target at 190, that was met. Had a price target at 200, that was met. You can see this wide range expansion candle here. A lot of buying on high volume on that break of 200, which is because, you know, people are targeting 200, and once it gets through it, it's like, oh my gosh, now it can really keep going. So the next target after that was 220. That one's been met too. So at this point, I would have a pretty hard time trying to get in here because I feel like it needs to pull back first. Obviously, it's not pulling back yet, but I would prefer it to pull back into about 200, 205 before I tried to trade it to the upside again, just because it's a little bit too extended for me for an entry.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be a popular. I know I've been kind of hoping that we see that 200 in there again. I feel like that could really get defended, to be sure. And it's a trick. It's been a trickier trade the last couple of days because it's in that no man's land for a day trader. You know a stock is in a tricky spot when something which is usually profitable to the long side isn't very clear in direction. It's strong at the open, and they just dump it off because you're in the middle of that 215 to 210 range is not a very good place to play it. But like Danielle, just AVGO and Broadcom on a split. This is one of the more. It was a very popular stock. It's been a great runner. People have been begging for a split for like a couple of years now. It's a highly weighted name in the indexes, like all the things that you want. But most traders are like, come on, we can't touch it, or we don't touch it very often because we're not going to get the split. Now you're getting exactly what you want. So we're going to have a split in the next month or so. Do you have any thoughts going into this? Oftentimes we've seen that rally into a split and then a little bit of a sell the news event. We do have some time for it to happen, and the chips have been strong. What are your thoughts with Broadcom?
I love Broadcom. I think it's a great stock, great company, great long-term investment, and I'm very excited about the split news. Broadcom has been pretty challenging to trade in the options market because it is such a high-priced name, which just means that there's a lot of options contracts and the volume's spread out, so there's not really good enough volume on the majority of the strikes, which means the spreads are too wide, and so it's just a really challenging product to trade in the options market. So especially for that reason, I'm very excited about the split. But the other reason why I'm excited is because the stock has been on a complete tear. And if you look at the other companies that have split this year, even Walmart, you've got Walmart, Chipotle, and then of course, NVIDIA. We do see these rallies going into the split, especially after you have a 2x move after the earnings report. Broadcom was only pricing in the market makers were only pricing in about $100 expected move over this earnings report, and it gapped up over $200 overnight. So just with that alone, that's a good reason to look for post-earnings momentum, and then you get the split on top of it. So, admittedly, it is very extended, right? It's not like I'm saying, hey, this is a great entry point, guys, after it has been down at the 50 simple. It was at 1330. But I get a little aggressive with trades sometimes. And I mean, I can see that $1,800 price point, Ooh. Nice key psychological value going into that split. So I think I'm still going to trade it to the upside.
Yeah, to say it's strong is understand, but I'm glad you pointed out. I mean, Walmart's at fresh highs. Chipotle is at its highs as well. Maybe two names that we don't talk about enough. And Chipotle goes into that same category of everybody's wanted to split since forever. And I'm glad you bring it up that, fundamentally, we all know splits don't change anything, right? Like the stock is still, the value is still the value, but it is very real that it makes it easier for there to be more options action and trades involved, which is both good for options traders like yourself, but it also creates just a little bit more action for us as day traders trading the equity. So everybody gets a win, and that's why it matters, and you get that fuel, especially in something bullish, and we can see a rally in. So there is a logical reason why this happens, even if there's no fundamental change in the company. And as traders, that's what we care about ultimately.
Oh, absolutely. And Chipotle, that was a stock that 2015, 2016, 2017, I used to trade it all the time. I mean, for the most part, it was in a pretty good trend. You could just sell, put credit spreads on it. But the same thing happened as what happened with NVIDIA and Broadcom, which is just that when it's such a high price name, the spreads on the options, they're just way too wide. And so you can't get in unless you're just simply buying a long call, which is going to be cost prohibitive for pretty much, the majority of retail traders. I hate saying that, but especially, a lot of the traders in our trading rooms, they're coming in, they're saying, hey, how can I grow a small account? Like I'm trading maybe $50,000 or I'm trading $5,000. Like they're not going to be able to come in and buy a long call on Chipotle. And so the only thing that you have left to do is to buy a spread. But the problem is when you have your at the money call going for a difference between $98 and $107, the spread is so wide, you're not going to have any kind of edge. So I'm extremely excited about Chipotle splitting because this stock has been in a great trend, and this stock can be a great stock for traders to trade because there's also a lot of traders out there that say, you know what? I don't want to trade NVIDIA. It's too wild for me. I don't want to trade GameStop. Can you just please give me something where I can ride the trend? And that's where you have Walmart. That's where you have Chipotle. No, it's not, fireworks, but you can make just much easier money by following the trend on a more boring stock.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, one of the stocks that actually performed the best, maybe not in recently, but certainly over the last year. I remember no one would even talk about Abercrombie, and ANF was one of the most simplistic upward trending stocks that you were ever going to find, and it was just ride the wave. And I don't know too many people that were involved in it, but you're dead on. There are other things other than NVIDIA, and it's always great when we have exposure to them. I even feel like that Cava stock was only going up the way it was post-IPO because people weren't buying. They're like, I can't buy Chipotle. Let's just buy this thing because maybe it's the next Chipotle and its valuation's ridiculous. But at the end of the day, people just wanted to get in. As always, thank you for so much knowledge. I feel like we could always talk to you for another half an hour or so. We do have the Tesla Vote that's going to be coming in just a few minutes or at the start of the meeting. But before we get you out of here, Danielle, tell everybody where they can find you and where they can find your awesome merch. I don't know if you're wearing one of the merch sweaters today because I can't tell.
I know, I got to change my camera lens again because you don't have the full view. But it says celebrating life, liberty, and the pursuit of assets. So I'll post a picture later. But this is my YouTube channel. You can check it out right here at Trader Danielle. I'm always posting new videos, new trades, trade review, and more. And I'm going to be posting some videos coming up of the merch that I have. So check it out.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Danielle Shea, our options expert here. And thank you for coming on. I know we'll be talking to you next week. We'll get to talk to you, hopefully, about a continued move up, maybe in Adobe, maybe in Broadcom. We'll see what happens. No one knows. And maybe Elon will have gotten paid, and we can talk about that as well. So big thank you from myself and everybody watching. We appreciate having you on.
Thanks for having me.
Always fun to have Danielle,
Indeed.
and it's fantastic. Check out her merch. I love I know you love that fun for sure on the sweater. Just before we get on to some things, I wanted to mention Adobe still chilling out here at $525. I say chilling out, up 14%, up $65, and it is just hanging higher. There was a move. Remember we talked about GameStop. Yeah, so GameStop did make that break because, of course, why do what day traders want to do? Which is make a break when we can trade it. No, it breaks that $29.70, gets almost to $31, pulls right back in Like, look at that double top, pulls right back into that support, now back above the $30 level. So some action here in GME. It's continuing to go. We're going to have that move. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to pretend that, obviously, the event tomorrow there's going to be a move, but it is at 4 o'clock. So that event will be on when we're doing the market recap show live at there. That should be exciting.
Oh, I'm so excited for that. Already ready to trade GameStop in whatever direction it gives us. That, like I said, this is my favorite name to trade today. It's just, today at least, it held technicals pretty well. We'll have to see what happens tomorrow. But yeah, it's just about finding opportunities where they exist. And I mean, GameStop has been giving you so many opportunities. And I think tomorrow should be so much fun. I'm happy we get to bring it here with everybody on the aftermarket.
And as we pointed out, there was in both the last couple of days, I don't know if it's official or anything, I've seen people talking about it, but Roaring Kitty, maybe he has sold a bunch of those calls. I don't know. But there was a ton of volume both yesterday in that June 21st 20 strike, and then again today, although it didn't have the same effect. Maybe he's out, maybe he hasn't. Maybe he was generating enough cash so that he could exercise the rest. I don't know, that he could easily be the case. But you know what time it is.
I do.
Right? It is Adobe is amazing time, but it is also time to do our roll call. You know what up, and I'm going to start it the same way I always do. First things first, I'm going to shout out Adara for the notes that she gave me. I mean, I get notes handed to me when I come to the desk of like what to talk about, what's expected, all that great stuff. Fantastic trading in GameStop. It is tricky to do.
Thank
you. So good on you. Positive spirit regardless of how your day is going. So I want to shout out to you. I also want to shout out Bears versus Bulls like we always do. The best moderator out there. And the entire team. I want to shout out Fabian and Ramin because I always forget to do that. We can't be here. We can't look and sound good without them behind us and the entire team here at Trader TV Live. But let's get to some brass tacks. Dan McIsaac, he's holding no calls, showing 9 million shares. Look, I haven't seen, I'm not on Twitter right now. I don't even have my phone with me. I left it at the desk. So maybe he has exercised. So he's showing 9 million shares. That would suggest to me that this would be true. I don't know if that's true, so thank you guys for bringing that up. So now the guy owns 9 million shares, so it would make some sense. He sold some yesterday so that he could exercise an amount and have the cash to then have the shares. So good luck for him, or good luck for him, I should say. Jaspreet, he posted his YOLO. Darwin letting us know as well, so shout out to you guys. Lava, Thomas, Neo Roberts. I love it. I love it. I love it. You can't. So many times I hear people say Neo, and I think they're talking to me during a trading show. Sometimes it's frustrating, but it's always fun. Lava, Thomas Briganti. We got Mahesh. We've got Chase Bandits. We've got Charlie Taft. We've got Kyle W. We got Easy Trader, I think I saw in there. Frosty, Mark M. Danielle, thank you for being on here. Thank you for jumping in the chat and being so gracious to thank all the great viewers. Finch, Jane, Jared Tweedle, Mr. Westermeyer, D. Westermeyer in the house. We got Shahu72. We got Sebastian. We got Jaspreet. Good luck. Thank you. So he's holding 9 million shares at 23.41. Good luck, Roaring Kitty. Oof. French Toast 999. I could go for some French toast right now. A little cinnamon on top, real maple syrup, not that Aunt Jemima stuff. I'm all about that real maple syrup. Go Canada. Zion Lala as well. We got the Piper. We got Kyle Burdett. What up? With the Neil Ledge. What's the Neil?
Oh, someone was saying that instead of knowledge, they were like, because we have the confidence. This was a super chat today. What about the Neil Edge? Like knowledge and Neilage.
I'll take it. I also heard someone said that I'm like the day trading Don Cheadle, which I'll take that all day long. I don't think I look like
That's a really good, I love Don Cheadle. That's actually a good comparison.
He's one of my favorite actors, so I'll take it.
He's amazing.
He's done so many great roles, but
he's awesome.
Yeah, maybe I'll try to work that into Halloween somehow. Be like one of the characters he pulled off. That would be fun. Who else we got in here? Cher E, Punjab, Stud Farm, Broken Finance. Let's try to get a few more in here. Benny SoCal, Reza Jafari. We've got Parabolic FOMO Dip
Rip?
Parabolic FOMO Dip Rip. Here we go. Tomorrow is going to be epic, and that is an epic name as well. Janik Patel, we got Lasmel Melendez, I already said Finn Shane, we got Tilsterville, Mohan, and Cool Hands Luke. Fingers crossed, Tesla and Benny SoCal. Shout out to all of you, everybody. Obviously, Tesla, the event is starting now. We got to get out of here. I got to get to my daughter's strawberry social at school.
Oh, yeah.
I get ice cream and
Enjoy.
strawberries. Hopefully the weather is going to be nice. They just get excited. Anytime like all the parents go in there, they show off their classrooms and stuff. You know, when you're in grade 1, these are the things that you get really excited about. So I can't wait because I get to eat ice cream. And then my daughter has a smile on her face while I'm doing it. And before we get out of here, everybody, do not forget, you don't have to wait until 10 a.m. to check out the podcast. You can go through the videos that are already out, episodes 1 and 2. You can check out the clips that are on YouTube, those shorts, if you want to consume it that way. But the new episode 3 is out. Not tomorrow, Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Scan that QR code. Make sure you hit the subscribe so you're notified when it is dropped. It's a fun one. It's a great one. Brendan and Sean kicking butt with that. So with that, thank you very much, Adara. Thank you very much, Adobe. Thank you very much, Daniel Shea. Thank you to all the viewers. We appreciate you, and we get to do it again tomorrow. It'll be fun.
See ya.